no soul to sell. Help me, the only thing that works for me. Help me get away from myself. I wanna love you like an animal. I wanna feel you from the inside. I wanna love you like an animal. My whole existence is flawed. You get me closer to God. You can have my isolation. You can have the hate that it brings. You can have my absence of faith. You can have my everything. You get me closer to God. You can have my isolation. You can have the hate that it brings. You can have my absence of faith. You can have my everything. Help me. You tear down my reason. Help me. It's your sex I can smell. Help me. You make me perfect. Help me become somebody else. I wanna love you like an animal. I wanna feel you from the inside. I wanna love you like an animal. My whole existence is flawed. You get me closer to God. Through every forest, above the trees, within my stomach, scraped off my knees. I drink the honey inside your hive. You are the reason I stay alive. Through every forest, above the trees, within my stomach, scraped off my knees. I drink the honey inside your hive. You are the reason I stay alive.
Waters of chaos have invaded our space. The flood on earth again. I have to find the whales that once did guide us to the dry lands of life. I won't despair. I'll break this dark ground under heavy sea. I'll search the flight of whales beneath the seas. I searched and had a different view of us on earth, the sinking ship of men. But it's beyond the stars. I found the place where they were, and they finally came to light. Over the winds, they dwell in light, like the arrow in the sky. I found myself on higher grounds from up here, for I see them all the ways in flight. Now I can see the whales looming out of the dark, like arrows in the sky. I can't believe my eyes, but it's true. See Ciao left, with tickets as low as 1,433. You might also like the heaviest matter of the universe. Go cheer up. presence for only speech. Breathe. Over the winds, they dwell in light. Fly. Fly. Over the winds, they dwell in light. Light. Light.
Welcome, my friends, to XboxEra. If you're new here, let me fill you in. XboxEra is a platform for the Xbox community with best-in-class forums, a kick-ass Discord server, and of course, XboxEra.com, your destination for the best news, reviews, and features, all focused on your favourite platform, Xbox. It's every Xbox fan's gateway to the best of XboxEra. Our incredible podcasts listened to in over 50 countries worldwide, our in-depth reviews, our own merch store for the coolest in gaming threads, and of course Day One, where you can track, rate and discuss your favourite games on Xbox Game Pass. We're a small, agile and independent publication, and importantly, we're completely funded by you. If you value having a publication truly focused on your preferred place to play, you can become one of the cool kids by supporting us directly via Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. You get cool swag and awesome perks, and we get to keep doing what we do. Become a part of the best Xbox community on the internet and help us grow even larger. Thank you for your support. XboxEra is only made possible by the support of an amazing community, and in particular our legendary and growing army of Patreon supporters. Our executive producers, Top, the Scarecrow 121, Peter B, Not Jack, Mohammed Sherez, Kevin S, Korkenstein, Jordan White, Jordan Andow, Frankie C, Terran H, and Britt. Our amazingly generous grand benefactors who take their support and dedication to XboxEra to another level. Crat 56 and Assassin. And then there's our boss, our leader, our shining light in times of darkness, the one and only XboxEra CEO, Torn Raptor. You guys are all fucking awesome. If you enjoy the content XboxEra produce and want more of it, and you're not a patron, consider heading over to patreon.com/XboxEra, pledge your support, and get cool swag in return. Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 231 of the XboxEra podcast. We're here to talk about all of the latest in gaming from across the industry, but overall we're focused on your favourite platform, Xbox. XboxEra is a fiercely independent and community-driven publication, and it's all made possible by you guys, our wonderful community, particularly our patrons. So big shout-outs to all of our executive producers, but especially our grand benefactors, Crat 56 and Assassin, and our wonderful and benevolent CEO, Torn Raptor. Thanks to changes implemented with the blessing of our CEO, all of the XboxEra patrons get the opportunity every week to have their say via community questions and ask the team here what we think about, well, whatever subject they bloody well please. They can do this either on the forums via forum.xboxera.com or via our lovely Discord, which is discord.gg/XboxEra. As always, I'm joined by a special Nick.
What's going on?
And the wonderful Jesse is here as well.
For now,
unless the storms wipe him and his kin from the face of the planet. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
It's
sending good vibes.
Potentially Category 2, knowing the Gulf right now, probably Category 3 or 4. Hurricane aimed right at Tampa, coming from the west. So it hits it, stays on it, goes over it slowly. Pretty much worst case scenario. So, don't know what to do.
It'll be fine. Promise. Everything's going to be okay. Oh, it's another week in video games. Nick's had a haircut. He's had his ears lowered.
SJ, I see you in the mate. Go back and watch older episodes. This is how my hair was most of the early
It wasn't
episodes.
always so sculpted.
Yeah, the hairstyle you've seen over the last year or so, that's a recent thing. Like, I reckon the first, how many episodes are we on now? 231? I reckon the first, I don't know, 100 or more episodes, I've had a shaved head for a lot of it.
Trav in the chat. I miss Nick. Kind of looks like
Looks
11.
like 11.
now.
I take that as a compliment.
Yeah. Fair
Take
enough.
that as a compliment. Millie Bobby Brown is, it's not bad.
I don't feel like you can say that. Like, I still regard her as her first appearance in.
Isn't she?
She
isn't
just
in
got
her
She's
married
like, she's like
to
25. I know.
John
Yeah,
Bon
isn't she in
Jovi's
her
kid?
20s and
I
married?
I know. But like, it's just like, I don't know, man. She still looks like a little kid.
I still see that with Dakota
'cause we're
Fanning
so
from
old.
Little Miss Sunshine. Like, it's hard.
Yeah, she was War of
My-
the Worlds as well.
Travis
Dakota
and
Fanning,
my
right?
Yeah.
niece, Nikki, is now at UConn. Like, and I remember tossing her around in the pool when she was like 3 or 4. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're old now, boys. We
That's
old
what happens. Like,
men.
people are freaking out. Like, my daughter is about to turn 13, and she's now past or matched my wife in height, and is on her way to me now. And she's
Wow.
not even 13 yet. And people are
crazy.
freaking out when they see her because they just remember her
Being
really
high.
little.
Well,
That's what- kids age you, man. Kids age you.
They do.
You have kids, they age the shit out of you.
no lies detected. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that 100%. I feel old. Like, everything hurts now, all the time. It's life is pain, basically.
I'm not that bad. Like, I saw a funny meme on Twitter saying, for people who are over 30, what's something you would show people or say to people to let them know what happens when you cross 30? And like, there's this dude, he's just sitting in his chair in the study, turns the chair around, and as he's just getting up out of the chair, he's just letting out this massive scream of pain.
Yeah, I've seen the meme. It's like 20, 30, and then screams. Yeah.
No. This is just straight up. He's in his chair and he goes, He's just like gets up out of his chair. But I only feel that pain after the gym. Like, the next day after the gym is when I'm feeling that pain.
Yeah.
That's the only time.
I have to admit, getting a better mattress solved a lot of
Yes.
my back pain.
I need to do that.
100%.
I
And the
need to
funny
do
thing
that.
is I spent $1,000 on the original mattress. Like, got top of the range fancy mattress, because I was like, I'm going to have the best mattress I can get. And then
Yeah.
I ended up swapping it, because every time I went to stay around my partner's house, she's just got an average super firm mattress. It's like thunk.
Yeah.
And I
mine's
wake up
firm
and be
too.
like, oh, that was the best night's sleep. And I've replaced it with just the bigger model of her exact mattress. Bliss. Like,
I
brilliant.
like a firm mattress.
Yeah. It's good times.
This is the oldest conversation we've ever had.
We are old.
We're old. We are old men. That's what happens.
Do you know what I
Just
got the other
ordinary
day?
men. Just ordinary men. We're just
Just like
normal
getting
men.
excited about like awful normal things. Like, that's when you know you're old. Like, I got a new clothes era. I was like, oh,
Oh yeah.
lovely.
Hills?
Yeah,
Was it a Hills?
no. I didn't go like high end, because I very rarely use one. So I've got a tumble dryer. Welcome to the Xbox Era podcast. It's thrilling, we promise. Let's ignore real life for a moment and spend some time in the whimsical land of new video games that we've been playing this week, because I feel that would be a better way to go. I know Jesse's going to have a lot of segues into things he's been talking about, so I'm going to do Jesse last. And I can't really talk too much about what I've been playing because I'm reviewing it, which is
okay.
Neva, a new game
man, I'm looking forward to that game.
from the team behind Greece,
Greece.
which is Nomada Studio. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot to say about Neva at some point in the near future before launch,
Looks really
I would
good.
imagine.
Looks so
it-
good.
Based on the trailer only, yes, it does look very pretty, says I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it have the gameplay chops to back up the prettiness? Well, you'll find out when I can talk about it. Otherwise, I've been playing Space Marine 2 in 3-player co-op. It is fucking awesome.
Yep.
Been playing it on
Go back
hard.
to that game.
Playing it on harder difficulty, not like Angel of Death difficulty, but hard. And it is a challenge, and that is nice to be challenged. But playing it with the guys, really, really enjoying that game a lot. Lots of frustrating networking hiccups occasionally, though, where one of our party leaders just like he's in, and then like he had one bug on PC, and he's running a high-end rig, like equivalent-ish to mine, but an AMD build, and he would look up at the sky, and the game would just crash. Like if he looked up at the skybox and go, "Wow, look at all that," crash. So his character would just be running on the spot, and we'd be like, "Where are you?" And then he would disappear out of Discord, and he'd come back in. He'd be like, "Yeah, my whole PC locked up." He had to update all his drivers. He's new to the PC world, so this is bugging him a lot. You know, he's coming from a console kid background, so there's a lot of mockery going on about like, "Oh, spent all that money, can't even run it right." You know,
Yeah,
it's
part of the reason I couldn't get into PC gaming.
There's a fault between the chair and the keyboard. You know. But man, it's such an incredible game.
These days now, you do need to keep your drivers updated. It's not worth not updating them, because most new things don't work right until you do, which makes it really fun when you're doing reviews. And the driver ready update isn't probably ready until you're like almost done, or game ready driver update. So, but yeah, never actually got to play Space Marine 2 on PC. Only ever got an Xbox code. Yeah,
it's so pretty, and I'm glad, because trying to get the guys together to have the time to actually jump in and play was a real pain over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it finally started happening this week, just in time for the ultra wide update for Space Marine 2 to drop. So now my PC takes full advantage and all of that jazz. And I'm not sure if you saw this in gaming news, but the developers kind of been like, "Hey, be nice to each other out in those lobbies, because you never know if Henry Cavill is your teammate." Because Henry Cavill is like on Instagram going like, "This is the nuts." Like he fucking loves Space Marine.
Oh my
and he's
God,
doing a Warhammer show with Amazon, apparently, which,
yeah,
I mean, stands to reason that might be pretty fucking good.
I would love to play Space Marine 2 with
Henry Cavill.
Oh my God.
It would be like, I'm fangirling right now.
If it turned out that I've got put into like a lobby with him and played co-op with him, if I called my wife to come and tell her I'm playing Space Marine 2 with Henry Cavill, she would play Space Marine 2. And she does not really play video games.
She just tried.
She'll play it. She'll just play it.
He is a
I'm playing with
PC-only
Henry
boy,
Cavill.
though. You'd have to be on PC. You'd want your aim to be as good as it could be.
Yeah,
No
he wouldn't-
cross-play? It doesn't have
Yeah,
cross-play
there is,
with
there
co-op?
is, but he'd look down at you. He'd see the Xbox logo and he'd be like, "Brother."
You know what?
Brother!
He'd be looking down at me anyway.
What's wrong with you? You got a load of tone. I will say that playing Space Marine 2 in co-op, I don't know if anybody else out there, hello chat, does this, but going, "Brother, help me!" And just like one of my mates sent me the two pigs arguing about oats. Have you heard of this meme? I'd never seen it before, but it was basically the two pigs arguing about oats, and one pig has been given the oats, and the other pig is like, share your oats with me, because if you eat all the oats, you'll get fat and you'll go away. You know, you'll be taken away to be eaten. But it's rebranded as two Space Marines arguing about bolts for their bolt rifles. "Brother, share your bolts with me," and then they're just arguing back and forth in the Space Marine style lexicon and verse, and it is so ridiculous. And I'm laying in bed, and it's like 5 minutes long, and I'm watching this thing, and after about a minute, my missus goes, "What the fuck are you watching?" I was like, "Brother, silence." It's just heresy. It gets really silly. It's so good. I love that game. And obviously, I've been playing Starfield, but we'll get into Starfield in a bit. I haven't been playing Shattered Space. I've just been picking up the main campaign again. I played through. I've just finished the Crimson Fleet UC System Def quest.
A good one, many people's favorites.
Yeah, it culminated in a massive space battle against a giant like carrier ship, which was pretty cool.
yeah, I enjoyed it thoroughly because I saw everybody playing Starfield, playing Shattered Space, and I was like, oh, I really need to finish that. So I reinstalled it and everything, and I'm like, oh my god, it looks so much better than when I played it at launch.
It was fixing the crushed blacks on an OLED just makes that game pop.
Yeah, because this is an OLED
nice.
monitor, and it is just like, this is shiny as fuck. It's very pretty. I think graphically, and people might kick me in the face for this or tell me that I'm blind, but I swear I have 20/20 vision. But in terms of texture work and material surfaces and the way the light works across maps and stuff like that and in environments, I feel like it looks as good as or very near to Cyberpunk 2077 running on full whack.
Yeah.
Like it's a very pretty game. Yes, the faces look kind of garbage comparatively to the rest of the game, but outside of that
actually
one
happens in
factor,
a lot.
Yeah,
Star
all
Wars
NPCs
Outlaws
look like
is
shit.
gorgeous, but then a lot of the character models don't look great. There's times where in Cyberpunk they don't look great. There are certain games that definitely really excel in it. I think like Decima games, especially Death Stranding and Horizon games, really did end up focusing just so much on that character face. Dragon Age: The Veilguard really focuses on it, and a lot of it comes in the hair. A lot of these games still have very bad hair, and that kills a good-looking face otherwise, because like the character hair and beards and facial hair and stuff just look bad in most things, and then when you see it look really good, it just makes everything else look a lot worse.
Yeah.
But do you want to get into the Starfield? We've now been talking
Well, I
about
don't
it.
think Nick hasn't put anything on the list, so I don't know if he's been playing anything this week. Just
Nothing
Fortnite,
new.
Rocket League? No.
Nothing new. The problem is the issue with someone like me that only really plays the 3 games on rotation, which is Fortnite, Rocket League, and Balatro. When you get inundated with new games, you don't end up finishing any of them. Like I still haven't finished Prince. I still haven't finished Prince of Persia's DLC. I played it a bit yesterday. Still haven't finished it. I've been playing Zelda Echoes, which I'm still very much enjoying. Although someone pointed out a problem to me, and this is what I mean. People think I'm stubborn, and like I actually enjoy when people criticize something I like, so I can see a different perspective of something, as long as it's coming from a good place and it's not trolling and whatever. I actually like when people criticize stuff I like. And so I saw this a dev, he actually used to be a dev at BioWare, complain about something in Zelda Echoes, and at first I didn't understand what his issue was. I said, what do you mean, sorry? And they explained that Echoes isn't very good at explaining its systems, and it doesn't have any rules like as Echoes of Wisdom, and there's too many echoes, which is kind of
and
true.
getting through them can be really hard. Like
there's no management system for the echoes, and then when he said that they behave inconsistently, there's no rules with how they behave, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, I actually think I know what you're talking about now that I think about it. I'm like, it hasn't bothered me per se, and it hasn't smacked me in the face and pissed me off and made me not want to play the game. But I actually completely agree with what you're saying. And maybe I just haven't been playing the game long enough for it to bother me yet.
I think you're on the right track. I think whenever I'm getting my critique hat on, I suppose, I often think about how well the game mechanics have been translated to me, and what I love in games is when I instinctively do something, especially games that dare to have no HUD and no tooltips and no instructions, and they just teach you through gameplay, and then you just assume, right? They hope that you will assume, and then when you assume correctly, and you just like, oh, I love that, like that little connection when that happens, and you're just like, oh, okay, I understood. They intended me to understand, and they taught me correctly, even subconsciously. And when that happens, and it's rarer nowadays than I would like, because I think sometimes games are overly complex. I can't remember who said it the other week. There's a conversation going around on social saying modern games do lots of stuff, but none of it excellently. Whereas the really good games do the one thing that they are there to do exceptionally well. and that makes that is the magic. And I think a Prime game that you play a lot that does that is Rocket League. It knows exactly what it is, and it nailed the one thing it needed to nail for the game to be successful. And everything else that's come after has been just additive fluff, but the core is what it is. But
yeah.
Tangent.
Well, no, it's fine. But like, my thing with, I think the reason I'm enjoying Echoes of Wisdom despite those flaws is because of how much I didn't end up enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. And I shouldn't say
you missed out on your
it.
Zelda fix, and now you're getting a different kind of one.
Yeah, I shouldn't say not enjoy. I guess I was a bit disappointed. Like, for me, Echoes of Wisdom is like baby's first Tears of the Kingdom. If Tears of the Kingdom was overwhelming for you and having to constantly think of new machines to build and, how do I solve this? Echoes of Wisdom takes that and says, don't worry about building a machine. Just produce this thing. So, if as a really, really reductive and simplified example would be, let's say in Tears of the Kingdom you needed to get across a chasm, right? In Tears of the Kingdom, you'd have to build some complex flying machine or something like that to then fly across this chasm, right? In Echoes of Wisdom, if there's a gap you've got to jump that you can't jump, just produce a bunch of beds to create a bridge and just walk across. And like it's like this, it's like simplified baby's first Tears of the Kingdom, and that's what I like about it.
Fair.
I like that it's just that sort of simplified. But yes, so they're the two main things I've been playing that haven't been my usual. But I do need to go back to things like Plucky Squire, Space Marine 2, like Astrobot. There's just too many games happening right now, and it's getting ridiculous.
I love it. I love all the games. I have to say, though, I think amongst, especially for anyone that works in the kind of review space, like, you just end up always being pushed on to the next one. I think I'm luckier in some ways than you, perhaps, Jesse, because you have such a broad taste in games. I'm quite narrow. Like, I'll play lots of different things, but the overall genre focus of those things is still quite narrow comparatively to what's available. And you get inundated with all sorts of things you'd want to play. And often you'll review it and then you'll be like, I can't stick around. I've got to go to the next one. And, I think that's part and parcel why I think we're seeing less games on Game Pass as well. I think Microsoft is probably a little bit like, we're about to release Call of Duty. That's going to be the biggest thing this year. We threw in tons on the first 6 months of the year. Maybe just pump the brakes just a smidge. Saves us money.
They have all the stats. They know what's being played, how much things are being played, and they probably... I don't think their goals are... I think their goals for people already on the service are what is going to get them to play it the most, because the more they're on the service, the more chances we have they'll spend money. So when you put a Call of Duty on there, it's probably going to get more playtime in a week than the last 40 day ones you put out. Like, just, it's that big. So it's going to eat up a lot of your budget, because even though you're not paying for it, it's like Amazon Web Services and Twitch. They don't pay Amazon to use them, but they have to deduct the normal cost of somebody paying Amazon for all that bandwidth from their normal budget. So it's like their Game Pass budget has to be deducted for first-party games because it does cost.
And I think as well, for a consumer just sitting there, what shall I play? Especially if they're like, someone that flits from game to game. It's the same issue that I have when I boot up a streaming service to watch a movie is, shit, there are 1,000 movies. I like all of these. And then you end up deliberating and then, So like, I take it now when I load something up, it's like, we're watching a thriller. I don't care what thriller it is, but it's got to fit in the thriller category. And that's what we're doing.
And also, I should open this up. There's a ridiculous amount of shit for November. They have put so much in there already for Game Pass in November. It's like, so I don't think
God Assassin's Creed got delayed. Like, seriously.
But where's the friggin' post here? If I go through and I look, because I never thought October was going to have a ton. It's got Call of Duty. It's not going to have a ton, especially when September.
Yeah, there's Call of Duty.
Yeah, September eventually had 7 things in the second drop because they added 4 at Tokyo Game Show. Like, it wasn't light. It just wasn't big. But for November, there's already StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2 for PC. Tectonica is launching into 1.0. Flight Sim, Stalker 2, 9 Souls, and Football Manager. We already know all of those for November. That's friggin' 7 things already for the service in that month. So if they add a couple more, December's got Indiana Jones, and it's only 1 drop. So it probably will be like 8 to 10 things, maybe. Maybe it'll be lighter this year. I don't know. But like on the whole, this year has had a ridiculous amount. And then August was slow. September started slow, ended up being pretty normal. But like July was crazy. And like March through July was nuts. And then July had literally 5 things in 1 week, all day 1 drops, because they were all third party and they don't have a bunch of control over that. They still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 things listed for this year as day 1 releases from third parties. I would assume most of them have delayed. You've got Bounty Star, Commando's Origins, Dead Static Drive, Ghost Bike, Overthrown, Pigeon Simulator, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2, Way to the Woods, Bushiden, Marauders, Routine, and She Dreams Elsewhere. We're all supposed to be this year. Some are probably already delayed internally. Maybe some are public. I don't know. But like, yeah, there's been so goddamn much. It's pretty impossible for anyone to keep up with.
Yeah, it's bonkers. I can see like Scourge666 in the chat. 9 Souls looks awesome. I think we're on the list for that's
Yeah,
one
we
we're
should
looking
be.
to cover. So
Yeah, that game has been on PC for a bit and people love it. So
yeah, but hey, biggest
What
discussion
been
point.
playing?
Yeah, biggest discussion point this week has been Starfield, thanks to the release of Shattered Space. Jesse, how's your week been?
pretty normal. People are always like, "Oh, it must be so bad." I'm like, "No, this is pretty much how it always goes around these things, especially with a game where people have been as browbeaten as they have with Starfield, where it's not like I was talking with Torn Raptor, and Torn Raptor's like, I love the base game, but I liked more of the going. Yeah, he liked going around and doing things more than being in one area for a long time, which is actually like the opposite of what a lot of people always say they want from a Bethesda game, which is you just go in this area and you're just hitting everything, and it's dense and full of stuff to find. And he liked the exploration aspect of Starfield more. And I found that out during the stream earlier where I played Star Wars Outlaws today. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, Shattered Space, if you liked the base game of Starfield, chances are you're going to like this DLC, unless you're a media member. If you did not like the base game of Starfield, this will not change your mind. It is more Starfield.
That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't get. It's just DLC for the existing game. So I don't understand.
No. It needed to transformative DLC. That's what we needed. Did you not read the
I don't
small
know.
print?
I haven't played Starfield because it doesn't interest me. But what I'm saying is, as far as this DLC goes, if you genuinely liked the main game, I don't see how this could suddenly suck.
Like, it might not be up your
DLC
alley.
to the existing game.
So some people might not care about House of Varun. Like, they might not find the storyline as interesting. I did. I did like it quite a bit, joining a crazy cult and making them think I joined, only to at the end tell them to go pound sand. Or you can go pretty much full evil and have them, be a full part of their crazy religious crusades if you want. Like, that wasn't in the base game. So I fully get it if you like the base game, but you did not care for this DLC because the story just didn't hit for you, like in that way. But as far as being transformative, people keep pointing to Phantom Liberty, and they keep pointing to like Wine and Blood and some other ones, and it's like, those weren't transformative. Phantom Liberty didn't transform Cyberpunk. 3 years and spending over $100 million to fix it transformed Cyberpunk. And then Phantom Liberty was a really good 10 to 15 hour long campaign. Like, incredibly well done. Great writing, awesome endings, had some really cool story stuff in it. It was not transformative. It just added on to a base game that had been transformed at 3 years after launch. Like, I know one of the people who yelled at us and called us cocksuckers on his channel was like, treating it like it was a year, but no, it was 3 years for Phantom.
The guy that called us a cocksucker said he had 3.6 million subscribers as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's nice of him.
But for people who, for people who like the base game, chances are you're going to like this. I've read and everyone just always looks at scores. I haven't had no one talk to me about the actual text of the review. It's like with Redfall or with Armored Core.
No one reads the text.
Yeah, they don't care. And it's the thing we always get. And it's very nice when people say a nice thing like, "Oh, this is the first truthful review I've seen." And I'll be like, I mean, just because you agree with it doesn't mean it's truthful. The word should back up what's being said, and it's not like objectively false. Then it's truthful. But it's that thing where like Donkey had done the video. If you agree with the reviewer, then they're a breath of fresh air, and it's a great review. And wow, you're so honest. And it's like, no, that's not. You're just looking for people to agree with you while yelling at them as being like sheep. And people don't actually want varied opinions. They want, okay, well, the Metacritic's
They want theirs validated. Validated.
Or they just look at the Metacritic as an actual consensus of everyone that gave an objective look at the game, because objectivity isn't a thing in a review. A review is inherently subjective. But they want you to agree with other people, and if you don't, you're a sheep or you're a shill. Well, but if you do agree with them and they don't like the game, then you're a sheep or a shill.
In the end, our attempted mega boost failed.
Yeah.
And
we're still not top critics. We can't do anything on OpenCritic.
We couldn't get the score for this game up, unfortunately, as much as we tried with our mega boost powers.
I've got a comment on the mega boost thing. Like,
oh my god,
the fact that that guy has sat and done math and like worked out a points system of like how often we're above or below the. I'm like,
and mind you, he conveniently left out. He conveniently left out Gears Tactics, where we were well below. The Metacritic, and he used high on life, and left out Gears Tactics.
Yeah, like, and I doubt there was any actual look at my Diablo score, which is well below most people, which I'll get into after this. But I need to. It's not knowing how the system works. We have no weighting on Metacritic. Like, we don't matter much, because we had a review where there were 4 scores up on a game. I think it had been reviewed on PC because the Xbox code wasn't available on time. So there was us and 3 other small outlets for this game. And the game was at 65. And then IGN gave it an 8 and it went to 79. Like, we don't have any power or weighting on Metacritic. We don't mean anything. I know Jason Schreier talked about how Xbox fanboy sites or fan sites had tried to with a boost for Starfield. It's like, we don't have any weight. Most of us aren't top critics. So if you're not a top critic, you don't matter for the top critic average, the score that everyone actually looks at. You can matter for the recommended, which is a really weird metric, which is, do you think this is better than the average game in the last 12 months? And I don't think anyone treats it like that. I think people just treat it like, I recommend this or I don't recommend this. And everyone does count for that, but nobody looks at that. Everyone looks at the top critic average, which for Shattered Space and some other games, like there was one game I looked at that had 14 reviews, but only 4 were top critics. And so people are like, oh, wow, this is reviewing great. And then I looked at all the other ones and they're mostly low, but they don't count. So it's
a weird system. There's a lot of frustration out there, and our community is asking questions about this as well, including Mort, not Morticia, of course. But Mort had a question, as part of Patreon community questions, saying, hey, with Shattered Space being talk of the week and Jesse once again nailing his review, my question is related to expansions. And you mentioned some of them earlier, right? Like Blood and Gold and Phantom Liberty. Which expansion to a game is your favorite ever and why? And do you often return to a game for meaty DLC?
Shouldn't this be later?
It's part of Starfield.
I don't think it is. It's just about expansions in general.
He's talking about Shattered Space and it's bouncing off of it.
Stop causing
he's
flow
using
problems. Shattered Space.
I'm using it. I'm using it.
Question.
And I'm agreeing with his use, and I'm also using it. Deep breaths. There's loads of Shattered Space questions. So, hold on to your butt. Do you have a favorite DLC for a game that's ever
Does this include expander loans?
Would you count it as a DLC to a game? Like Hivebusters for me is probably the most transformative.
Yeah, Hivebusters is probably one of the better ones if it's not an expander product that can be bought and played on its own.
And it didn't get an ending, sadly.
Yeah, which is
Hivebusters was really good. I'm trying to think what else I'm enjoying Prince of Persia's right now. That's very good.
Then that's
Sure,
like
there's
that
been
is a
others.
$5 side quest, so it is very different. But yeah, they all count. Like I know a lot of people will
Still
point
an
to.
expansion.
They'll point to it's not an expansion. It's a $5 DLC mission quest. I wouldn't call that an expansion.
But it's a Metroidvania, so it's like adding another separate almost world within the same game.
To be
It's
fair, he
lit-
says
it's the-
Mort says expansion
I know.
/ DLC.
Yeah, he said DLC, so I put it in there. But
yeah.
like a lot of people will point to Shadow of the Erd Tree, and for me, like Shadow of the Erd Tree is not transformative, but it was amazing. It was a lot more of a game that was nearly a that was pretty much a masterpiece, but it was obviously it felt a lot like cut content from there. So it was really good, just not quite as good. Whereas both Blood and Wine for The Witcher 3 and Phantom Liberty for Cyberpunk felt as good, if not better, than the main game. Shattered Space, I would put a little below the other faction quests for me. I liked it a lot, but it's not up to the level of like the UC quest. It's tough. I would probably have said Blood and Wine before Phantom Liberty, but I would probably go Phantom Liberty with my favorite overall, knowing it is a unicorn. That was an unbelievable investment over years to fix a game because they wanted the IP to not die.
Yeah, like Cyberpunk was a very specific kind of like weird scenario that had never happened before, right? They shot for the moon.
And that
They
was not
missed the moon.
equivalent to Starfield, no matter what people want to think.
No, like Starfield was a perfectly great game at launch. Cyberpunk was a great game if you had the rig to run it and stuck within a very narrow field of what they wanted Cyberpunk
Yeah, either
to
you were
be.
on Series X or you had a super powerful PC.
Yeah. And then they were like, okay. And there was a great article on Eurogamer this week. It was labeled as a long read, but it was like how they turned that around and what they went through from that launch to all of the feedback to PlayStation delisting the game to Microsoft adding a warning label on it, all that sort of thing. And I think there was a community question on this from a fairly new patron, to my knowledge. At least this is his first question. Joseph1WH, who says, "Hi all, this is my first question here. I've just read Eurogamer's Saving Cyberpunk 2077 article. With Concord gone, how would you compare PlayStation's approach to a bad launch to that of CDPR?" Nick, why do you have a problem with this, Nick? You
Now we're
okay?
off another topic again.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
we're
it's
off
fine.
Starfield.
I don't know. I didn't have much
back
left
to
about
it.
Starfield, but because I got another game to talk about too.
There's so many more Starfield questions, mate. I'm just
You're not the
segueing.
one doing the timestamps later.
Oh yeah, I don't have them on screen. That's right. Well, I took Starfield off, so you know that this is a community question.
You have a crack at doing those timestamps the way I do them now.
Community question.
I don't feel the need.
You'll be there for 6
JWHY.
hours.
There you go. I'm leaving this up so you'll see it for a bit as it covers my camera, Nick.
There you go. Make you
But
feel better.
I think their approach is worse because, like, when the approach on a bad launch hits, like, you either have the Ubisoft, who will pretty much stand by anything for as long as they possibly can. You've got Microsoft, who will generally take time and put money and effort. Like, State of Decay 2 was a mess at launch. Like, I probably would have given that game like a 6 because it was so ugly and had so many problems. And by now, it's like an 8, if not higher. They've done so much work, so many years of getting stuff into it. And when it hasn't gone great for Sony, they just cut and run. And that's it.
Well, I would say that when it came to Cyberpunk, there was the seeds and there was a good game in there.
Oh yeah, I
was a
gave it a
good
good
game.
review at launch because
Yeah.
the actual, like, all the writing, the combat, all that type of stuff was still really good. It just didn't get anywhere near what they had promised.
Yeah, the ambition was there, and there was something worth saving. And indeed, now it's paid off, right? I think it's rated overwhelmingly positively or mostly positive on Steam. Phantom Liberty rave reviews. The game is now, it's still not what they promised way back, but it is a great game. Whereas it wasn't, but it could have been, and that's worth saving. With Concord, it was a perfectly fine game straight off the bat. The problem was, no one wanted it, and everybody wanted Cyberpunk. Everyone wanted that dream, but when Firewalk, I get confused between Firewalk and Firespray. Yeah, when Firewalk came and went, hey guys, here's another, hero shooter for you to play. everyone went, we don't want this. And they said that straight away. They said that from as soon as that first CG trailer kind of dropped, everyone went, eh. And then it was just, it never recovered. This isn't like a different scenario where it launched broken or anything like that. It launched, players did not want it. And there's no recovering from that. You can't, we'll make it free to play or we'll give you extra things. We don't want to play it. You can't force people to spend what limited free time they have playing something they have no interest in. I think that's
the AAA dev cycle doesn't work for trend chasing. And it was too many years too late. Like, people who want a hero shooter, it needs to be something radically different and not just almost like Destiny Overwatch with bland characters you can't cosplay as because they're this too close to reality yet still not there thing. Like, yeah, it's rough. It was a perfectly competent game in a lot of ways. It just didn't have a hook to differentiate it. And I mean, I get why they dropped it so quickly because it was a shockingly ignored launch. Like, the worst I can remember for a big release from a huge platform and publisher.
Yeah. But that's that. Thank you for your question. What else have we got that's on the subject of Starfield? Julia.
We weren't on Starfield just then.
Don't worry, I'm adding things at the bottom, Nick. You'll see it. All right.
Nick, work with me here, bro.
This new format's dumb.
No, he just doesn't like it because
the CEO approved.
The
CEO approved it.
I don't put it up on the screen, so it makes his timestamp OCD go crazy. So I'm writing Julia's community question. Bam. It's right there for you now, Nick.
Julia asked with regards to Starfield. Since the world's gone crazy, what's your favourite thing about Starfield? Nick, what's your favourite thing about Starfield?
Fuck, I haven't played it. That's my favourite thing about Starfield. The fact that we tried to give it a mega boost is my favourite thing about Starfield. That, man, I've got to stop. I have to stop getting dragged into these fucking PlayStation fanboy arguments on Twitter because
we agree.
Here's the thing about arguing with fucking dummy PlayStation fanboys, right?
Or any dummy
and I'm
fanboy.
sorry, I have some genuinely good friends who are hardcore PlayStation fanboys. I genuinely consider them friends, but I'm sorry, they're the fucking dumbest bastards going around. Like, seriously,
saying a lot for Twitter.
They drag you down to their level and they absolutely kick your ass with experience.
Yeah,
like that. Oh my god! Like I was like, what mega boost are we providing? We don't provide a mega boost, right? Now, what an intelligent person and an honest person would have said was, my bad, mega boost is the wrong term. Here's what I meant. Mega boost is the wrong term. My bad. This is what I was talking about. Instead, it was more of a deflection of what I meant by mega boost was blah, 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 blah. Word vomit. And then a bunch of fucking dickheads replying, going, you cooked him, bro. Bro got fucking cooked, bro. I'm like, how did I get cooked? He's arguing something I wasn't arguing.
Yeah,
I was 100% correct. We didn't mega boost shit. Like, what are you fucking idiots talking about?
It is the entire point of it, and the reason why I am pro just immediately block.
Oh my god!
Is it's not, there's no good faith. You're not talking to people who want to have a discussion. You're talking with people who just want to hurt your feelings and make you feel bad. That's all they want. They don't want to have discourse with you. They don't want to discuss something like we are able to do, like on the forums or even in our live stream chats with people. Like we have people who want to talk about stuff, and we try to not, well, John and I try to not push console warring and drama and that type of stuff. But you're not dealing with people like that. You are dealing with people who the only thing they actually want is to make you sad.
Yeah, like I had some fun earlier this week by, like, I woke up to the XboxEra Twitter account just being tagged and, you know, name calling and, you know, all of the usual nonsense bullshit that is just stupid. And my favorite thing that really made me chuckle this week was the demand for objective reviews. An objective review. And it's like, You want a review to be objective. Now, look, I understand to a degree where some maybe non-trolls might be coming from when they have this conversation, right? I can be objective about my subjective opinion, right? So I can play a game and I can be, I really liked these things. Here is why I liked them comparatively with these other ways of doing it. And here's my subjective opinion about these objective things, right? But that's where the objectivity ends, right? Like I can be objective in that I need to be honest about how I feel about this game. But it's still, end of the day, my singular solo opinion on what I thought I played. Not yours, not the other guys, not the rest of the internet, just me. And that is a review. So I actually had it and I got shot down because it's feeding the trolls, and I get it. But I ended up joking around with ChatGPT, and I came up with a whole new video series for XboxEra called the Objective Review Series, and they'd all have shocked thumbnails, right? Shocked thumbnails. Ugh, my objective, brutally honest review of Starfield, and then I got ChatGPT to write me 300 words where the prompt was, "Don't use any opinions. Just deal with fact," because that's what objective is, right? Just pure fact. Write me a review, and then at the end, I was like, "Can you give me a score?" And he was like, "I can't score that because it's objective, and I haven't played it." And I'm like, come on, just give me a stab. And he just wouldn't. ChatGPT was just like, "No."
Also,
but it's the most dry, boring, fact-filled nonsense. It's basically a back-of-the-box description about what Starfield contains. It doesn't tell you anything about how it made me feel,
the best review,
or that's what people want. So I thought, maybe I'll start making a bunch of things.
It's the best review.
You can't post it on the website. You couldn't post it on YouTube because both Google would absolutely despise you using ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT. I know. I wouldn't want to write that shit. Can you imagine how boring it would be to write an objective review?
It's just one of those things where it's like, again, it's not. There's no good faith to the discussion. It is entirely how can I make you angry and upset because I don't like you. Like that's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's exhausting. That's
all they got.
exhausting.
It's hard to create or to actually understand something. It's a lot easier to be angry and negative than it is to be it's a lot easier to be angry and negative without knowing what you're talking about than it is to be positive. Like it's very obvious when it's toxic positivity. We know some people who try and push that.
I have to do this. I have to call out Amit Kumar in the chat. The only thing I don't like about some reviews is when they're grading the game on what it doesn't do or what the game should have done based on their expectations. You're absolutely fucking right. That's not being objective. Oh, I sure wish Starfield had let me fly from planet to planet, but it doesn't. So why are you knocking it for not? Like, did they say they would? No, they never said. They said you would
There are certain things where if it would have made the game a lot better overall. Like there are some mechanics where it's like, I think if this thing had a different part to it, it could have made it a lot better. And so I didn't enjoy it because it was missing something. But like
I think there are some instances where that's okay. So if a Halo game suddenly shipped without multiplayer, do you not think it should be knocked for that?
Right. Well, okay. If they announced a Halo game, let's play this through this scenario.
Yeah. There is a very famous one of these.
It's a purely single player experience from the ground up, built for single player games. If reviewers then went, but without the lack of multiplayer, nah, right? Well, hang on. Why do we complain about that when The Last of Us Part 3 gets announced and it's a purely single player game and they state from the off that it's not going to contain multiplayer? From the off,
they stated The Last of Us 2 was going to have multiplayer and it never did. And the game is like a 96 or something. So
it depends upon. Halo gets knocked a lot for not having Forge at launch, for not having game modes at launch. I can understand that, but when a game is announced for this is the game, and like Starfield had a fairly brilliant deep dive, which everyone raved about, there was nothing in that deep dive that wasn't in the final game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there was. Everything that they said
some
would be there.
Some people were just like, "Oh, I feel misled by it," but that might be the most like.
Yeah. But yes, I agree. I understand what you're saying. There are scenarios where Halo Infinite famously did not launch with lots and lots of things, right? And you could kind of knock it for that. But should you knock it for what it isn't than what it is?
Yeah. No, the more I thought about it,
it comes down to
that's
what are the expectations? What were they trying to sell you on? What was the promise of the game versus what you got? It's definitely a very different thing than that.
No. I understand.
Yeah.
That's not the end of the Shattered Space conversation.
No, what's your favorite thing about Starfield?
Oh yeah, we're still there.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing about Starfield, I think, there's two things. One is I really love how the world feels and looks. Like I love the grounded sci-fi NASA vibe. I think that is just so cool that it feels real. The thing I really hate about Starfield is Barrett. All right, Barrett can go fuck off into the sun. He's been my companion for that whole campaign, and he was judging me and telling me I was a jerk. And he kept going, "Oh, can I talk to you for a minute?" And I'm like, "No, go away, Barrett. I don't want to talk about your dead boyfriend. All right, we'll come back to that later. Barrett can go get in the bin. Annoying companion. I need to trade him out urgently."
You, Sarah. She's British like you. That's all you need.
Yeah, haughty as well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, for me, it's essentially what I love about Red Dead. It's living in that game. Like, it's one of the things I'm starting to fall in love with in Star Wars Outlaws now that I get to play it more instead of having to sprint through the main campaign, which again isn't the best way, but it was on the mix of only a week and in Gamescom. So it was a really rough time to try and going into this universe. It controls really well. It looks great. I don't care what the hell people say. Like, people try and say, "Oh, this engine's shit. It needs to go." It's like, no, this engine looks amazing. It's got some of the best lighting. Like, every solar system you go to is actually lit by the star system. Like, all of it. It's amazing. There's nothing like it. The rolling hills of fog that you'll see in the distance and all the light going through it in the correct way. Some of the best physics you can imagine. Really fun gameplay. The powers and the weapons and the boosting around and all these things. Like, I can't go back to old Bethesda games because they just play like shit compared to this one. That was always the meme. Their games play like ass, but they're this cool clockwork thing that people love. Just living in this world and going through everything has always been my favorite part of Starfield.
Fair enough.
Another community question on Starfield.
Correct, there is. Bob Lawport.
Didact. Oh, no, then there's two.
We'll do Didact because Bob is on a massive tangent.
Mine is actually about Starfield. Didact. 3.
They're all in the showrunner. He's
Hey,
probably gonna buy that.
gents. Really surprised at the Shattered Space reviews. If more Starfield is that low and more Elden Ring is that high with Shadow of the Erdtree, what separates those two? Content by hours/value? Why the main Starfield meta so different from the DLC? Games already get really bloated just to avoid this kind of conversation, but was the length really the issue here, or does everyone just hate BGS games in any shape or form now?
People were really against Bethesda for a while. Also, like, you can look at Mortal Kombat Chaos Reigns. That is a $50 1 to 2 hour long expansion that gives you up to 6 characters over time for multiplayer. It's at a 65, even though people say story's not good, you can beat it in like an hour. But it's still a 65. And that just came out. And so, like, those types of things are what always make me shake my head. Because even Shadow of the Erdtree, what does that cost? It's a $40 one. It's $10 more than this. It's about, I think I beat Shadow of the Erdtree in 15 hours. And I've played roughly 15 total hours now of Shattered Space. I beat Phantom Liberty 3 times in 20 hours. And that was $50, I think. Like, the whole dollar value proposition side of things just feels like it's mostly ignored if you like the content. I don't know. It does not feel good faith the majority of the time. Like, I talk with Torn Raptor and he's like, "Oh, it's not hitting for me." Feels good faith. I read a lot of other reviews, or I look at the comment section and this guy saying, "How could you give this a good review? Everyone says it sucks." I agree with them. And then it later comes out, he says, "Oh, I only have a PlayStation. I've never played it." And everyone just starts laughing because it's like, why are you in here talking shit other than it is really just that I want to be part of a group.
Baby.
Yeah, I want to be part of a group thing, and it is trendy to shit on this game, especially in the press. Like, it is incredible. Like, today's Game Scoop IGN show was called Star Fixed or Star Fucked. And it's like, you are the biggest gaming industry for covering shit people there are. And everywhere I look, like Paul Tassi, who gave the game a 9.5 at launch, is now like memeing that it always sucked. And it's like, I know you got browbeaten for a year. It doesn't change the fact that your review is extremely positive. And that's just the stuff that you don't see with other games.
We've called them out in the past, but to be fair, with IGN, they were consistent. 7 for the main game, 7 for the DLC.
Which is why it's like, that. How is it fixed? It's like, I don't know. It's been the expansions don't radically change the games all the time. That's not the normal thing for expansions. They add more.
Yeah, like the amount of reviews are like everyone expected this to be like put on the best of Starfield and be transformative, and I'm like, did they? Okay, I mean it's an odd one to me. I don't know. I feel like Starfield has earned such a place in the media to generate clicks that people revel in giving it a bad review. Like
they've got to hurry up and get that PS5 version out so that everyone loves it again.
Yeah. Like if Bethesda want to change it, they better get that one out the door.
Everyone. This is where, you know how I've said in the past, the superpower I'd love to have is the ability to see alternate timelines.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the timeline where Starfield comes out as a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh, would that be a timeline I'd love to see?
This Starfield discourse feels like Redfall, where it's like people are always, you should stop being so toxic. There's too much toxicity, but then they're extremely toxic about it. I remember Sadie Boyd talking on Twitter. It's like friends in the coverage industry I've made, people that I've worked with are all just attacking us nonstop. It's like breaking our heart. It's like, I don't understand why people seem to get so mad at this game. And I doubt it's going to happen with Doom. And a part of that's going to be because Doom Eternal was amazing and the DLCs for it were better and better. They weren't transformative. They were more Doom Eternal. Like Doom, the Ancient Gods Part 1 and 2 were awesome. They were just really good Doom Eternal.
Do you think that Starfield would have got the amount of hate it's got if it had released multi-platform day one?
Zero chance.
It would have gotten a lot of hate still for being Bethesda. It probably would have been less overall. Because it's been caught up heavily in the fanboy side of things. I do think there is just a lot of Bethesda game studios hate. Like, it was rough. Like, there was a lot of problems with Fallout 76 at launch. I'm not going to pretend it was a great game, but it definitely always just feels extra toxic when BGS is involved.
Yeah, fair enough. We got a message from Abdel114.
Abdul, yes, member for 4 months. Thanks, mate. Yo, Nick, finally watched Friends. It's funny. I know it is. It's very funny. It is. It's incredibly funny. Starfield still game of the gen.
It's and personal preference.
Still best leaker in the industry. Hey, what's TTS? Best leaker in the industry. TTS. What's TTS?
What
I'm old. What's TTS?
Does TTS stand for?
No idea. Help us out, Abdul.
Text to speech.
Ah, there you go.
Ah,
I don't know.
Really? What?
I mean, that's
sure that's what the TTS means there.
I highly doubt it's what it means there. That is literally the only thing I know for TTS.
Hashtag pathetic poor begging ponies.
Wow.
But it's been oh Christ, I had a point I wanted to make. Oh yeah, people talking about like your review is wrong. It's like, I mean, if the words I used are wrong and just say the wrong thing, sure. But if I like something you don't, or I don't like something you do, that's not wrong or right. That's a difference of opinion.
Talk that shit. TTS, talk that shit.
Got it.
Right, yes.
But
yes,
so many people treat, if your opinion is different, then your opinion is wrong, which I don't understand. It is an opinion. It's how I felt while playing this thing. There was also a lot of people. There was someone who joined the forums, and they ended up being pretty nice, but they joined the forum saying, hey, just had a question. How did you have your review out so much earlier than everyone, and why was it so positive? I'm like, well, I linked them, and everyone on the forum started to say, like, he streamed the whole thing. He just played it on Monday. He played it a lot. He played it a bunch, and I was like, yep, I've reviewed too many things. I can do them really quick now and feel pretty good about the overall quality, especially like on a DLC where it's going to be a shorter piece overall, because I've already written 5,000 words about the base game. I don't need to write 3,000 or 4,000 words about a decently long DLC. And here's 7 hours of me playing it. It was like, oh, okay, cool, thank you. Those interactions are so freaking rare because people are always just mad if you don't think the way they were hoping you would. Like, I saw people on our Discord mad that Silent Hill 2 is good. Like, they were really hoping, because it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive for at least a year, they were annoyed that it was good. And it's like, why? Bluebird, what's wrong with Bluebird Team? And like, Konami made a deal, they got more budget.
I am surprised that they turned that around, because that game looked genuinely rough when it was being shown.
It feeds the narrative that came out that Bluebird Team didn't want to show it because the stuff that Konami had to put that trailer together was old and not good looking. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's obviously the case.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
All its showings looked rough, so good on them for seemingly turning... I've never played Silent Hill, not the original, and I probably won't play the new one.
It's the type of game that actually could have benefited from a really good remake, which is why I'm happy that it is one.
Isn't it sort of like... Isn't Silent Hill sort of Resident Evil, but not Resident Evil, if that makes sense? It's kind of like
it was one of those more... It was like you've got your things in certain places for the camera, and you're going around a horror game, and it's not like some big action thing. So yeah,
it's less actiony than Resident Evil, isn't it?
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah. You again,
I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Yep, it always had bad melee, kind of on purpose, because you weren't supposed to be a great fighter. But yeah, people get mad if you don't agree with them, and then pretend like they don't want everyone to agree with everyone all the time, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alden, that's what I said. I had a guy saying, I had a guy telling me on Twitter, oh yeah, you were all just jumping on the bandwagon. It's like, dude, we all have functioning eyes. The game didn't look good when they were showing it, Silent Hill 2. It just looked odd and rough. And the problem is, Resident Evil 4 and 2 are out there to compare it to. And compared to those two, it did not look good. And those trailers were fairly recent, so people were like, uh-oh, what's going to happen here? But if they were putting together those trailers based on old footage, then they did their own game a disservice. Because clearly, behind the scenes, Bluebird was getting it all in shape. And that's great. Hard. It's good that they've got it in shape.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing. But that doesn't change the fact that the game looked genuinely rough when it was being shown. It doesn't change that. Like,
people are strange. It's all based in that tribalism of console wars. It's dumb. It is dumb.
But it's no different. Like, where were all these people? Like, so think about it, right? Silent Hill 2. I would argue, even as someone that hasn't played Silent Hill, I would argue that Silent Hill as a franchise, very strong reputation, revered, the whole lot. Right? Mm-hmm. Silent Hill 2 looked rough as being shown. Comes out and it's currently an 87 on Metacritic. Sounds a lot like another game that looked rough when it was being shown pretty close to release, and the game got delayed. Came out 87 on Metacritic, yet it's still seen as shit. But Silent Hill 2 is amazing and it's been turned around.
What game are you talking about, perchance?
Funny how that fucking works, isn't it?
Is it that game?
Funny how that works, isn't it? Halo looked rough too. When they showed it in 2020, Halo looked, visually especially, looked rough. Guess what? They responded to that and they actually delayed it. This wasn't a case of old footage being shown. That was fairly recent-ish footage and the game looked rough. They delayed it. The game came out, ended up an 87 on Metacritic. Funny how you don't hear people saying, 343 turned it around, well done.
I got to comment on these things. We got to before we read the super chat from Jordan Landau. Portal player in the chat. Yeah. Unfortunately, most of the console warriors are on Xbox. Nah, bro.
Are you sure he's not like trolling?
Oh, he's been in here for a very long time. He truly thinks that.
I think,
that's what I thought. I thought I've seen Portal player before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that's true. I feel like Xbox players or some of the Xbox community can be Xbox's worst enemy.
And a lot of those trolls left
Relatively
when they lost
speaking.
Call of Duty in the last gen, essentially.
Most of the console warriors are on Xbox. I
Don't
wonder
know
if
I
he
can agree
means.
with that.
I wonder if he means by ratio, because it's physically impossible for more of them to be on Xbox because PlayStation has so many more fans than Xbox does.
True,
So
true.
it's
Want to have
actually
more
a physical
MAUs.
It's actually a physical impossibility. But it's possible as a per capita per whatever thing.
Yeah. Percentage.
Yeah, as a percentage potentially.
And it's
but
also-
definitely not in terms of the number
It's one of those things you can never actually know.
measure.
There's no way.
No, you
It's
can't.
just
I
a
think it
feeling.
depends what crowds you hang around in. Like,
Yeah.
I avoid console warring as best I possibly can because I find it so inane and pointless. Whereas if you, and look, I get it. If you're going on YouTube and you're watching shows or you're watching content, some people want to be entertained, and occasionally silly, toxic console warring can be entertaining. The problem I have with a lot of it now is that it's all that YouTube mostly is.
Mhm.
You know, it's like the go-to default is what should we be angry about this week? And it's like, man, I can't live in that world. I'd rather enjoy these wonderful video games I'm playing over here. Thanks. So, yeah, maybe I'm biased in my own assumptions there. Who knows? We've got a super chat from Jordan Andau as well.
Jordan Ender, £20 super chat. I want the timeline
Big
where
bucks.
reviewers and outlets do completely genuine reviews instead of the bandwagon. The bandwagon negativity, sorry, there's a comma there that threw me, that it seems we often get. I saw a reviewer say a game was soulless and shouldn't exist a few weeks ago.
Wow, what game?
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, that's my thing. I wish we saw less reviews that were ads
Yes.
and more reviews that were just reviews. Like, I'm not saying my reviews are good. I actually don't think they are good at all. I'm not good at reviews. But I do, with my reviews,
That's fine.
try and focus on, like, the game stuff. And I try and delve less into how things make me feel. Like, I try and say, the graphics are good, the music is good or bad, the game feels good to play, as in the gameplay is nice. These are the things that, like, I don't know, and maybe that's too boring and sterile for people, but as someone who really, really cares about how a game feels to play, that's the part I prefer to focus on in a review, and I find that most reviews now don't do that, so I don't read any reviews.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Because most reviews now are just glorified ads. Or they're like, this made me feel so special and fucking... I don't care about that. I don't... Just tell me how the game feels to play. Does it feel good or does it feel like shit? Like, I'm not going to read any GTA 6 reviews because I doubt anyone's going to talk about how the game feels to play, which is all I really care about.
Mine will.
They're just going to talk about, after playing it, you know, it was so authentic, I felt like committing a crime, and blah, blah. That's all they're going to do in their review. I want to hear how it plays. After GTA 4 and 5 felt so shit, I'm not interested now in reviews on GTA 6 because I doubt any of them are going to talk about how the game plays.
Mine will.
So
You can read it ahead of time, too, whenever I get to do it.
So I just... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think in general, you can tell when somebody is trying to review a product or when they're trying to push an agenda, essentially. Either you trust it or you don't.
At the end of the day, find the reviewers that you agree with and go listen to them. Because if they have the same taste as you, chances are they tell you a game's good and you've like listened to them before and you've enjoyed what they've enjoyed, you'll probably do the same again.
Even that'll
I
never be 100%.
don't see the point of
It's just
attacking
the lightest
reviews that
guide.
you don't agree with. It's just like, okay, that's one arsehole's opinion. Everyone's got an arsehole. Everyone's got an opinion. The end. Just move on with your life.
And
It's just
even
video games.
The most reviewed games have 200 opinions out there, and then 20 million people will go play it. Like, why do those 200 opinions matter so much? But they do. Like, Sony will not buy a company or not fund a sequel if it doesn't do well enough with this small subset of people who review it. Like, the Metacritic scores control bonuses and stuff, and it's like,
It's gross.
The scores are all just pulled out of people's asses. It's just how you feel at that moment. It can change the next day, but you're stuck to it. Like, it's just a score. There's no scientific method to it. It is all, how do I feel at that moment where I have to decide? And that's it every time.
Well, you know, one thing.
Oh wow,
you could
Jordan
do is-
Endow. The game was Star Wars Outlaws, the soulless game that shouldn't exist.
Come
Oh
on.
my god, calm down.
You know, one thing we could all do as video game reviewers is we could just record all of our, 20, 30 hour playthroughs and upload them all as straight away.
Yeah,
Publishers would love it, right?
yeah, they'd love their whole entire game.
Yes, they
being
definitely
spoiled
don't.
in a review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like any Japanese publisher who's like, you cannot go past this part like 20% into the game with any video footage. You cannot do more than 20 minutes of coverage. You can't have any guides until the game's been out for a day sometimes. Like, that's just the way they are. They don't want things spoiled.
One of my reviews, one of the embargo requirements was your review can't talk about anything past this point. I'm like,
Yeah, it happens. a lot.
okay, you're limiting me there a bit, bud.
I did
It's
one.
like,
I
what
did
you want me
one.
to talk about.
I did one recently where they were like, you can't talk about this part of the story and blah, blah, blah. And story stuff's easy to kind of skip over because, frankly, it doesn't matter really towards how the game feels to play.
Yeah, you can talk about the story without giving full specifics. Like, how did you think about it?
But yeah, it's a funny one. It is a funny one. I just because I want to hear you say it as well. Abdul114, Nick,
Yeah, I know,
do
I
the
saw that.
voice.
I don't even remember the voice I did. I don't remember the voice I did. I just.
It was a mocking. I love.
I know, and that's what I thought. I'm like, I don't remember specifically imitating anyone's voice. I just remember talking about the topic and being like, oh my god, I loved Hellblade 1. I hated Hellblade 2. It was so shit.
And that's
I mean,
that has
Hellblade's
now,
another one, man.
that's happened
Oh,
with that happened with Starfield. I loved the base game. I fucking despise this DLC that's more of the base game. It's like, why does it keep happening around their launches?
Yeah, I feel like, come on, like I just can't. Like you saw it with Hellblade 2, like people can like that. If we're talking about reviewing a game for what it isn't, Hellblade 2 got fucking shafted. Why isn't this action adventure game that I wanted? Like Xbox's answer to God of War, because it was never
Meant to be. It was never meant
And
to
also,
be.
like, because when you look at who has had to pivot and completely shift, Mattress86 just joined the Patreon. Thank you, Mattress.
That's not the only Patreon members that we've had upgraded recently. We've had a bunch. You know, I saw someone in the chat earlier, by the way, Nick, say, "Oh, hurry up and make Nick full time so we can have a Nintendo era podcast."
Era.
1,000 more patrons, and it could happen. Boom. 1,000 more. Come on.
I'd love to have the time to do a Nintendo podcast. I know Nintendo's not in the news.
It
You
could
just
be
like to
a
talk about their
monthly
games.
one, and it ends up being the thing where you're talking about Nintendo as a company and a history more than you have to do with Xbox, because that's most PlayStation and Nintendo podcasts invariably jump into what do we want to see next? What was your favorite one in this, genre type of stuff, because they don't have that much to talk about.
Well, aren't most PlayStation podcasts talking about Xbox?
Yes.
All podcasts talk about Xbox, frankly, most of the time, unless they release a game.
Because good or bad, Xbox always seems to be in the news. That's why. Jordan Andow, the comma was predicted text on my phone, Nick. I blame the Series S. Yes. The Series S is always
got another
putting
one real
commas
quick.
where they don't belong. Nick, let's talk about Alan Wake 2 right now, please. It was my 2023 game of the year.
Despite skipping every
Alan Wake
cutscene.
2. Incredible game. Yeah, but the game is amazing. Doesn't
good.
matter if the story is
It
good
plays
or not. The
well.
game itself.
Not
Yes.
amazing. It's not an amazing playing game. It plays well enough to be carried by an unbelievable story and atmosphere.
I think it plays fantastic.
Johnny
It's
Ravioli.
so much better than the first game.
Hellblade 2 was a walking sim. I was like, yeah, it's a narrative.
Yeah.
It's a narrative
So was the
adventure.
first one. So was the first one.
Same seas.
I said it in the months and months leading up to launch of Hellblade 2. If you enjoyed Hellblade 2, you should, in theory, enjoy if you enjoyed Hellblade 1, you should, in theory, enjoy Hellblade 2. It's the same game with prettier graphics.
I'm going to be curious about Flight Sim. Because Flight Sim 2020 was what, like a 93% 93.
91, 92.
It was
something like
way up there on Metacritic. And Flight Sim 2024 looks for now to be way better, like in every possible
one.
facet. It's a 92 on OpenCritic for Flight Sim 2020. I am curious, does it get anywhere near there? Because like this one looks appreciably improved and transformed, and actually it's not transformed so much as it is added to a ton, and it's all the stuff people really wanted.
I think the difference with games like Flight Simulator, I'll adjust the tinfoil, is that you have to have a very specific type of player to review it. A sim enthusiast that is on the lookout for things that sims do well, which Flight Sim will achieve. So I don't expect it to get knocked. I'm just reminded of that infamous viral clip of Nick saying, you watch them give 7s to Starfield. And you might think, well, 7's fine. And you called it out. You called it out months before it ever came out. You were like, it'll just churn and, they'll... Because, in the eyes of the wider internet, 7 isn't great. I don't think anything like that's going to happen to...
And it's funny.
You never know.
Starfield,
You can get out of the plane now. So now you might have
It's a
comparisons
first-person
to
shooter.
GTA. Oh, it's not GTA. I can get out of the... Why can't I kill these people that
Why
I meet?
can't I jack this other plane?
Why can't I steal this car? Why?
And there is still the fact like Starfield was an 88 on its first day for the people that played it early before everyone was browbeaten and before all the 4s and 5s came in. It had over 30 like 10s, like 5 out of 5s or 10 out of 10s or 100s out of 100s. Like it reviewed incredibly well, but then everybody looks at how much it was dragged down. Kind of similar to Redfall, which early on was in the low 70s, and then by the end of it was in the high 50s. It was like there are just these pile-ons that happen. It's just human nature. I think we had one more Starfield question from
We
Didac.
did. We had one
Which
from
one?
Bob Lawpel, who says,
That's not
hi
a
again.
Starfield question.
It
Close
is.
enough.
It's not.
It's been a while, but I like the
It's
tangent
not
because it
at
gets us out of
all.
it. It's talking about hyping games, overhyping games, which is kind of in general theme.
Nick, I'm
about
marking
kind of
them.
the
You will know when
conversations
this comes up.
we
It's
have.
marked on the stream.
It's okay. Boop. It's okay, buddy. It's going to be all right. But Bob Lawpel says, hi, it's been a while, but I'm wondering what you think. Do you guys think that people are either overhyping games or are games getting worse? There are hardly any games being released that are being well received. Star Wars Outlaws and how badly Shattered Space is being received. P.S. For me, Starfield is one of my best games I enjoy playing. So what do we think? Are people overhyping games?
People have terrible memories.
This is an incredibly
Broad
big
question.
discussion. Like,
Yeah.
A second question: does pineapple belong on pizza?
That's another.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
If you want it, you don't have to have it on there if you
Fun
don't.
fact: pizza was actually invented in 1973 by Jim Lujois, and it was invented specifically to go on pizza.
I do not agree.
Pineapple is amazing on pizza. It belongs on everything. I have it in my burgers.
I don't like it with ham as much. I like it with bacon and barbecue, like chicken, like grilled chicken.
Yeah,
That's very good.
yeah, it's nice with the chicken. We have barbecue chicken pizza here, and it's got pineapple on it. It's so nice.
You know what's
We
great
have
with
barbecue
pineapple in
chicken
it?
pizza here. Sweet corn.
Pastor tacos. Delicious.
No pineapple, mate. Nah.
Um,
But overhyping games, what do we think? Do games get overhyped nowadays?
Yes, they do. They do,
well, I mean,
depending on
but
which
not
game
by
it
the-
is.
I don't believe they're overhyped by PR teams. Like advertisers don't overhype
No,
their
they're
games. They just advertise.
overhyped by us.
Yes.
And they used to be overhyped by incredibly faked advertising campaigns that did not actually represent what the game was. If anything, has gotten
Yeah,
better.
but that's the 80s and 90s. But that was before they could get away with it back then because there was no YouTube, there was no Let's Plays, there was no previews, there was no nothing like that. That was before the age of the internet. They could get away with that sort of false advertising. They can't do that anymore. So the games get overhyped by us now. And the problem is, so when he says games are getting worse, they are not. Games, in terms of their quality, video games are better than they've ever been at any time in human history. Video games are so ridiculously good now. Like, a lot of games now that are getting 8s and 9s, and apparently are shit, these games would have been getting flat out 10s 20 years ago and 30 years ago. They'd be getting 10s, considered the greatest games of all time, blah, 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 blah. The problem goes back to the review system and Metacritic and all that sort of shit, where now 7 is garbage, 8 is garbage, 9 is okay, and 10 is amazing. It gets all back to that. That's why some people are like, are games getting worse? Because you're seeing 7s and thinking a 7 is fucking shit. In reality, a 7 is not shit. A 7 is a good game. It's a good video game. And it's sad that there were games that used to get 7s in the early 2000s, and we loved them. And 7 wasn't considered a bad score.
Plenty of 7
RoboCop's a 7. It's great. It's a great 7. Like,
back in the day, I think Crackdown was a 7. The first Crackdown. And everyone loved Crackdown. Like Rise Son of Rome is a 60-something on Metacritic. And most people that actually played that game really, really liked it.
I loved Rise.
The irony being that Microsoft was the first one to do the Sony video game that gen with Rise. Dead Rising 3 is a 70-something on Metacritic. The best Dead Rising. Like, it's sad that it's become this thing now where if you're in the 8s, you suck. Unless you're a certain platform. If you're in the 8s, you suck. It's just, it's fucking weird. Like, games are not getting worse. Games are better than
Abdul's mentioning like the price, and also it's like the price actually comparatively, it's never been cheaper overall. Comparatively.
Yes, video games also happen to be actually outside the last 12 months. Prior to the last 12 months, video gaming had also been cheaper than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Go grab yourself an old Toys R Us catalogue from 1994 and go and have a look at how much video games were back then. Like, video games in Australia, thanks to Sony, have just gone back up to $120 again. And you're like, oh my God, that's so expensive. It is, but that's what we were paying for them back in the mid-90s too. So all they've done is sort of go back to the future. No, all they've sort of done is go back, like it's
reverted.
Yeah, video games for a long time were ridiculously cheap. Ridiculously cheap. The consoles, all of it. The Sega Saturn was $900 back in 96 here. Back in like 96. The Neo Geo was $1,000 back in the early 90s here in Australia.
Don't worry, bro. $1,000 consoles are coming back.
Yeah, but an $1,000 console now isn't as expensive as what an $1,000 console was in 1992.
No, that's true.
And you do get something that's going to last a lot longer.
Yes. Like, it was silly to buy a Neo Geo. That $1,000, you know how long it would have taken you to spend $1,000 in the arcades on Neo Geo games? It would have taken you 30 years. And you would have been getting out and getting some sun and going out and meeting people. Yeah. So, and $1,000, I mean, I paid $1,000 for the PS3 in 2007. Again, I would argue that $1,000 was more back in 2007 than it is now. Having said that, I'm not going to pay $1,200 for a PS5 Pro, but I'm just saying that video games aren't as expensive. Even though they have increased in price recently, they're actually not as expensive as they once were. And back then, I would argue it's even worse what they were pricing them as, because they were scamming us. Back then, the games cost $15 to make.
Yeah, not only that, but I feel like the time, the era, and our ages all come into account when we think about games and the stuff that captivated us in our youths nowadays. Now it feels like because you had like one game, maybe you could afford one or two games, and they'd have to last you like 6 months or something, and you play that game to death and you'd love it because of that.
And they were the games that lasted 2 hours.
Yeah. And nowadays you play one and okay, next. You know, like it's just this throwaway thing. And that's when people start to talk about the value to time spent equation. I'm like,
it's all warped now.
It's all so weird.
I said, so much of that cost is only tied to if you're buying it new. which most people don't end up doing. And then like they'll get Star Wars Outlaws and put 50 hours into it for like $20. Like that's the norm for most people.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah, I mean, look, $120 for Street Fighter, which is a game that could be beaten in less than an hour. You could pretty much beat Street Fighter with every character in about an hour or two. And it was $120 back then. And you had to make that game last. Now, I mean, Street Fighter has replayability, but still, the principle remains. Yet we have 30, 40-hour games now, and some people complain that they're short, and it's not worth the money. It's very warped, the way it's turned. It's bizarre. A lot of you that are outraged right now would have, I don't know what you would have done back in the 80s and 90s. Paying $80, $70 US for your video games that lasted 3 hours.
That's all you could do was just grin and bear it or rent.
And they were scamming us so hard back then. Games were being made by a handful of people for next to nothing, and they were selling them for $70 and $80 a pop. They were absolutely reaming us. Like, so bad. Where now a game costs $200 million to make, $300 million to make, $100 million to make. And they barely scrape by selling however many millions of copies. We keep finding out that publishers were underwhelmed by this game selling 5 million copies. Square Enix, famously. Oh, man, Rise of the Tomb Raider only sold like 5 million. Like, it's so warped. It's warped.
We've got a couple of super chats.
Shit, do we?
Senor Bean is the first one.
Senor Bean. The Firefest pilot learned to fly from Flight Sim. Let's not simulate hijacking planes, lol.
Yeah.
You can't. You just bounce right off in the game.
Jordan Andau, guys, please help me. Have I gone crazy, or in recent times something has happened? Anything that is below an 86 average, people seem to think is terrible. Why? Too many games or something else?
Console warrior list warring
just
discourse.
talking
Yeah, it is just people doing A versus B. That's the easy engagement. That's the way you can either piss people off so they watch you, or get people to join you so they watch you. Like, and it's also extremely full of projection. Like, the people who do it will then project the way they behave about everything onto you if you don't. Like, we try not to, but then we get dragged into it because we do review and score a lot of games. And people will not read most of them. They won't have any idea what's going on.
Just look at the score.
It's just, okay, this is the score you gave in this. This is the score you gave in this. And that's you giving the score on all these. Not you, but us, a monolith called XboxEra. That one thing that reviews it all. It's like
the mega boosters.
The mega boosters.
Like John gave Hellblade 2 a 10. I would probably be 8.5 for me, roughly.
Yep.
Nick would probably be similar, like 8 for him at the most, I bet, if he played it.
For what?
Hellblade 2.
Hellblade 2.
I'm saying compared to John, we're not going to be anywhere near as high as he was, but that he was the one who reviewed it. That's just the way it is. It's
correct.
Not this monolith. And people point at IGN and like, oh, this is what IGN gave this, but then they gave this, that. And it's like, well, no, this was Ty Guy Travis and this was Dan Stapleton. They're different people.
And that's exactly. But like, even with the 10, it's such an easy 10 to defend for me, Hellblade 2. And I get that there are some people that don't like walking sims, right? Well, this game's not for you. But in the genre of walking sims, I would please point to me a game that looks better, sounds better, does things better than Hellblade 2. I'll wait. And
people will say,
in my opinion,
I didn't
it
like
was the pinnacle of its genre.
I didn't like the story. And they'll say, well, I didn't like the story, so it's not a 10. It's like, yes, for you, it is not.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me it's not for me?
The story was better than Hellblade 1. Broader, certainly. But yeah.
If we ever rebrand, should we call ourselves Mega Boosters?
Megaboost.com.
If we ever rebrand,
it's as good a name as any. It's as good a name as any.
You
call
must make
ourselves
sure.
Mega Boosters.
Does Nintendo have anything on it? Because I don't want to get anywhere near them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And even a rebrand, it would. I don't think it would be. It would be like an umbrella over, because we'd still have like XboxEra that covers Xbox. We'd have a thing that would be above it so that we could do more.
But when Xbox dies, should we rebrand to Mega Boosters?
It's as good a name as any, mate. I'll chuck it
Yeah,
on
man.
the pile.
The Mega
I'll
Booster
chuck it on the
podcast.
pile.
I love this. Alvin, Gravemind. Console warriors are expert in use of the RICO charge.
That's the Rico
great.
charge.
When you get a bunch of crimes under like one thing in criminal court.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Rico. Yes, I've seen it in movies.
Yeah.
Senior Bean, Firewatch is the best walking sim. Firewatch was great, but I would argue that Hellblade 2 does everything better than Firewatch did, personally. But what's the other one? I just saw it and it really made me laugh. Abdul114. John, I remember you were on the VGC review panel about
They all
Hellblade 2,
hated Hellblade
and they all
2.
hated it. Yeah, that was a tough
I still
time.
don't get how you can hate it if you like the first one. I
know.
still don't.
You know, one of the big things
still
for
don't
people
get that.
not having like the running attack move. I've seen that mentioned so many times as that's the reason the combat's worse, when I think the combat's actually a lot better, more fun, and less overused. Like
It
there
felt
was
the same to me.
But it's also, if you perfect parry, like you just end a fight, it feels amazing. It looks incredible. Like if you perfectly time that parry and you get the blue and you just fuck them up, and it's visceral in a way the first game never was, because the first game was always hitting shadows and they eventually just kind of disappear for the most part.
Yeah.
This is literally seeing your sword go into some super photorealistic looking guy, and it's terrifying and cool because it's a video game and not real life.
Seeing a perfect parry on someone throwing an axe on you and you like, and then throw it back. Incredible. I love that game, man.
I did have
What a blast.
one other game I played this week that I can talk about now.
Oh,
I know. I wanted to start with this one, then go into Starfield. But literally, my other review that came out yesterday was Diablo IV, Vessel of Hatred. A review that is an expansion that is reviewing well. It's at an 86 on OpenCritic, but I only gave it a 7.8, stating in my review, if you are all about the gameplay, like Nick up there, probably like a 9 or above for you. It adds a lot of really fun gameplay stuff. The new character, the Spiritborn rules, they are really cool. I mean, it's Diablo, so they just attack a lot, but they've got a pretty nice variety to the way they do it. You either be the Jaguar and do fire, you do the Eagle and do electricity, you do the Gorilla and just pound the shit out of everything, or you do my favorite one, which is the Centipede, and poison everything. And you can have it so you can use any move as any of those, which is not the norm. Like, it is a lot more Diablo 4. It does not transform Diablo 4. It continues to add new things to Diablo 4, a game that has greatly transformed already since launch, mainly with its endgame. The endgame of Diablo 4 went from being overall too short and mediocre in a way that was impossible to know during the review period, because you had to get like 200 hours into it. And all our characters, much like with this DLC review, are gone. So the character I made here in this DLC is gone forever. I don't get to keep him, which sucks. So I'm not going to grind for 100 hours during the review period like I might have otherwise for funsies if I got to keep the character. But yes, it's my main issues with it are I don't feel I didn't like some places the story went, and invariably that it was a major cliffhanger that just sets up future. Also, I think $50 expansions. Is it 50 or 40? I think it's 50, but I don't remember. Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred cost, because I don't want to say 50 if it's actually 40. They did give me a code for the Ultimate Edition, so I am going to stream the shit out of it on Monday night, because throughout it all I still really liked it. But Standard Edition, it's 40. It's a $40 one, so $40. You do get it for $36 if you've got Game Pass as part of the 10% off.
nice.
But yeah, it was a solid, but not my favorite from them.
Diablo 4 is one of those games that, like, I've got it, I own it. I actually got, I think I got a copy with my GPU, so I have it on Battle.net. But obviously it's on Game Pass as well. And I'm like, I just need to persuade like 3 buddies to like team up and play through it. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm going to want to play through that a lot so I don't forget all the controls and I get into the story. And it's just getting that sequence of people to all be available night after night after night to play 4-player co-op of it. Maybe one over Christmas when it's a bit quieter.
Yeah, I mean, also like in 10 hours I max leveled. it's not hard to hit max level anymore, at which point, like, the game is about Paragon leveling, which was brought back over from Diablo 3 and Reaper of Souls, which was one of the few truly transformative expansions, because they launched Diablo 3 focused on getting you to spend money to keep playing it, and then they were like, oh shit, people really hate this, and then they had to change that game a lot, and the expansion did that. But yeah, Diablo 4 is really good. I liked it a lot. Did not love it because it is a lot of setup. Like, there are some super cool story things in the middle. So, like, early story stuff, cool. One thing happens early on, I'm like, what the fuck? Middle story stuff, really good. Later story stuff feels rushed. And then it leads with a cliffhanger that I didn't like. But it is a really good setup. I just did not like that it left on a cliffhanger. But yeah, it is solid. If you like Diablo 4's base game and you haven't played it in a year, the game's changed a lot, and it's all been good because they are constantly patching it like a lot of companies do nowadays. And this is a solid expansion. If you haven't beaten the main game or anything, I would wait to buy it until you did that, because it all takes place after the main campaign. So you'll have kind of no idea what's going on if you haven't beaten the base game. But if you want that class, they are awesome, and yeah, there's nothing bad about it. It is a very good DLC.
I can see Abdel114 in the chat says, Jesse, did you know that it isn't cross-buy? If you
Yes.
buy the Xbox DLC,
It is not.
it doesn't transfer to PC.
Nope.
That rings of Microsoft haven't quite got all the ducks in a row yet.
Well,
you
no,
know,
it's
for
this
playing
is the
their
one that
stuff
got
on Battle.net.
this is the one that got BattleNet only. Like, it's still only the BattleNet on PC Game Pass.
Yeah.
And even Call of Duty is on the Microsoft Store, unlike Diablo, and that's still not cross-buy.
Shame.
I think invariably a lot of this stuff is coming down to them still having appeals with the FTC. I wouldn't be shocked if it's the type of thing they go, like, hey, you buy it on PlayStation, you get it on PlayStation. You buy it on Xbox, you're still only getting it on Xbox. We're not making it unfair. And if they want these things in PlayStation Plus, they can just pay for it. Like, it's all there, like it would have been before. But yeah, hopefully cross-buy and play anywhere and all that stuff is their best thing for people who like being on multiple platforms. So I really hope they start doing it with new releases. We'll see.
For sure. Absolutely, for
Because
sure.
also, when it comes to Call of Duty, they got Modern Warfare 3 into Game Pass before its deal was up with Sony. There's still exclusive content coming to Modern Warfare 3 only on PlayStation. That's through November. So I wouldn't be shocked if there was some sort of deal worked out about what they will and won't do around Call of Duty for that shit.
It's interesting as well because, you know, Blizzard, phenomenal studio, renowned across the industry for a lot of reasons, both good and bad. And, you know, it's nice to see them having a pretty successful time with Diablo, and Overwatch 2's doing quite well and all of this sort of jazz. We know that they had a survival game cancelled of some description, but Hugh, one of XboxEra's patrons, and Omen both had a little conversation about Blizzard. Omen asks, and this is referencing Jason Schreier's new book.
I was just talking about.
Yeah, which is all about Blizzard and that journey. And he says, it sounds like there's some pretty enraging and sad stories in it. Do you reckon Phil or the Activision execs might pick it up in order to learn how to fix some of the systemic issues over Blizzard?
I bet you they know way more than Jason does. They would have access to everything. Like, just part of discovery of buying a place is learning all their dirty laundry. Like, if you're looking into buying someone, you get their books, you get tons of access to stuff. If it gets pretty deep in, I bet you they know a lot. And they were like, oh shit. And that's why there's not much, if any, of the executive left over from either company.
Did you see his list? Did you see Jason Schreier's list of cancelled games at ABK?
Yeah, Hugh did. Because Hugh's written.
Did you see what one of them was?
Well, can I read out Hugh's list and hope that it's there, and then we can segue nicely into it as part of the community question?
Where's the list? Where is it?
He says, hey guys, Jason Schreier recently discussed a number of cancelled projects at ABK. The cancelled projects included Avalon, a World of Warcraft Minecraft game, Andromeda, a World of Warcraft God of War type game, Orbit, a Diablo World of Warcraft style Pokemon Go type game, Starblow, a sci-fi Diablo game, Call of Duty RTS, a Diablo Netflix series, an Overwatch Netflix series, a Starcraft Netflix series, and Project Titan, which I think we all did know about that one, which was the MMO game.
That what ended up becoming Overwatch.
There's an even bigger
assets
list
used for
on
it.
gaming leaks and rumors. Was it on your list there, Nick? What one would you want to talk?
Click on that list. Click on that list on Reddit,
Yeah.
and you'll see a game in there that we leaked in episode 107 of the Xbox Era podcast, where I talked about a StarCraft FPS, which was planet-side Battlefield-like in scale, and that list on Reddit says Battlefield-like StarCraft first-person shooter.
Wow.
Funny that, isn't it?
No.
But, again, if this list never came out, people would have said, "Hey, Nick, what happened to the StarCraft Battlefield first-person shooter, Nick? You fucking made it up, Nick. You lied, Nick." Shit gets cancelled, man, and stuff changes. It's funny how much of my stuff has had to be revealed through other people leaking stuff.
It's funny because
isn't it?
Hugh wanted to know which of these cancelled games would be most interested in and why, and I'm like, that one
Hades
sounds pretty good.
The Hades one. If you click on that list, there's one called Hades. Original version of Diablo 4 with a third-person camera, Arkham combat style, dark tone, and permadeath. Ooh, I don't mind the sound of that.
Not if that's the
I don't mind the sound
not
of
for
that.
Diablo mainline. Diablo spin-off, sure.
Wow.
Oh,
There's a lot of cancelled
original
stuff.
version of Diablo 4. Okay, yeah, I get you.
Spin-off, cool. But I still want my action RPG.
Andromeda, God of War-like Warcraft game. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much they.
Isn't that funny though?
This happens at game
Battlefield-like
devs all the
StarCraft
time.
first-person shooter. Isn't that funny?
Feels good, doesn't it? Do you feel good?
No.
Do you feel justified?
Why is anyone going to acknowledge that I leaked it 2 years ago?
No. No one will acknowledge it. I'm sorry to say, bro.
Which is good.
Because apparently now leaks only count if you leak it like the day before. Like you can't wait a day.
Yeah.
Like apparently that's when leaks count. If you
I
leak
think
it
like those
maybe, like, a
leaks are the
couple of days
worst
before.
kind of leaks.
I know. It's like just wait a couple of days.
Like, why would you do that? It's just at that point, it's a dick move. It's not a leak. It's just
Yeah.
you saw the YouTube video, bro. Congrats. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like just
like that's not a cool leak.
just wait a day or two. Like if you're leaking like me, where you know about shit ages in advance, that's a real leak. 'Cause
And even
now
sometimes
you know
it's
this
way
thing
too
is
early.
coming.
Hey,
Mate,
Mattress,
I get it
join
when I
the,
get it.
Mattress,
I
join
get
the
it when I
Discord.
get it.
Hi, Mattress, our newest patron. You know what? I
welcome.
want to do
Where's
this. We also had earlier today, Dirvan Greedy join the Patreon. Yesterday we had Robert Brinko join the Patreon, as well as Kenneth Henshaw. Thank you guys so much. It means a lot. 3 days
Appreciate
ago
you
we
all.
had Greg. There's been a lot of people lately.
I love it.
you go,
I love
Jesse.
it because support independent teams you enjoy hanging out with.
There you go.
Like
Jesse,
you are seeing in real time tons of another bunch of websites got shut down. GG Recon gone, right? Completely all laid off. You're seeing legacy media can't compete. Like Google
Yes,
has
Kevin.
broken the internet.
It is about me.
They can't compete. They can't make money. And you're seeing some smart websites going, oh shit, we need people in video. We need people like actually connecting with our audience, which is what we've done from the very beginning because we
Play that,
listen to
Jesse.
what you guys want us to do.
What? No.
Please play that. I'd like to brag a bit. Can you please play it?
I put it in chat.
No, play it.
No one's going to hear
Can
it.
I share
don't-
my? I can't share my screen because
No.
you've got an OBS. We're not doing it in stream.
I don't have
Just play it.
audio on. Like they would literally just see you talking without hearing anything.
Why
Just like-
isn't there no? Why won't you have audio on?
I don't want to put desktop audio on. It would make you too happy. Why am I going to play a clip of you saying the thing you just said? You just said it. It's in chat.
Because I want the evidence there for all to see.
It's there in chat. Go spread
This-
it on the Twitter for Nick.
Whatever, man. Whatever. That was like when I leaked Top Spin Tennis coming back
Yeah, you did.
before Jason Schreier as well. What a good guess. Oh wow.
It comes down to methodology. Is it
That
a single
was my
person
special
telling you
spaghetti
something?
that sticks to a wall better than others.
It's the journalist mentality of one source is not good enough ever. So I got to get multiple.
I'm
So-
not a journalist. I'm not
I
a
know.
journalist.
So I'm just saying you're never going to get their respect. So don't expect it.
You know how I get their respect? The fact that they all follow me. That's how I get their respect.
It's overrated.
All the
Next
big
up-
leakers follow me. And we all talk behind
Yeah,
the scenes.
It's
They
okay.
wouldn't do
Brian.
that with a dude
It's
who
gonna
just
be
makes
okay.
shit up and throws shit at a wall.
That link Arthur one will take you to the timestamp. Just so you know. But anyway, that's all we've been playing, and a boatload of community questions, all done and dusted. If you want to check out Jesse's review of Shattered Space or Vessel of Hatred, they're live on XboxEra.com or
Time for name a
in
game.
the YouTube. What? No.
Because we've been going for
Surely-
fucking 1,000 years and have not even talked about any of the topics.
To be fair, there's not a huge amount of news. First up,
I'm going to delete half of these.
First up in gaming news, Square Enix wants to release Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox.
Old news. I already told you
Old
all
news?
this, like back in Jan, Feb. Once again, head of the game. Head of the game. Abdul knows. Abdul knows.
It is old news.
I already told you all Final Fantasy 16's coming to Xbox.
Well,
Already told you all.
our CEO, Torn Raptor, has said, in their eyes, referring to all those video game journalists, you will always be a bottom feeder, Nick. CEO.
They're just jealous because I'm the best looking one out of all of them.
But yes, a Square are on record saying players should not give up in terms of their hopes. We very much want to achieve that. So there you go. Shock horror. This obviously coincides with Jez Corden's recent confirmed leak of the whole slate of Final Fantasy games going to Xbox. No one mentioned you. Even Jez didn't refer back. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Jez would do you like that?
Jealousy. It's jealousy.
Oh, okay.
Think about it, right? These guys do it for a living, yeah? And they're full on into it and they get their sources and they do this, they do that, they do the other. I'm just this random pleb. And it burns them that this random pleb who doesn't care for any of this stuff, does it as a side thing and knows it all.
You
Mate,
revel in that.
The stuff sitting in my OneNote that I haven't leaked and that I'm not allowed to leak outweighs the stuff that I have.
You
and
just
I've leaked a lot.
constantly put a target on yourself when you say that for being hacked. It will happen.
I've got two-factor on.
Yeah,
Doesn't
people
matter.
get around it, man.
I've got two-factor on.
Doesn't matter. All it takes is
The one I'm worried
person,
about- The one I'm worried
person
about is someone at
one-
Microsoft.
Yeah, one person gets one cookie that's logged in for you, and that's all they need. Quite
The
often,
one I'm
they'll cover
worried
it up.
about is Microsoft. Because, let's be honest, Microsoft technically could just go in
Take a
whenever
peek.
they feel
They could
like
just
it
take a
and be
peek,
like,
mate.
let's see what's in there. Let's see who's sending it to him.
Jesus. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16, maybe on Xbox. Obviously, as part of the Tokyo Game Show, we saw the release of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection. And Mr. Hipshot, not his wife, has a question on this, saying, just want to bring attention to the fact that the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection made it to number 9 on the United States top paid Xbox chart and number 8 on the Canadian store. So in this case, I think Xbox and Square made the right decision because, yes, Xbox players do buy games, even JRPGs. Thanks, guys. The rankings might have changed since writing this. P.S. Nick, my wife won't stop talking about you. What did you do?
I showed her this. That was that's all that was needed.
You're a bad man.
That's all that was needed.
Jesus.
Took her out for a
Nice.
nice coffee in Melbourne, where the best coffee is.
Good for
Hot
you.
coffee. Hot coffee.
But yeah,
eh?
it's good, to see that the games are selling, and hopefully that means that other publishers, perhaps that skip Xbox, might be less inclined to do so. Maybe.
Yeah, but can I ask a question? I see this obsession with these charts, yeah?
Yes.
And I've seen, again, the PlayStation fanboy Twitter accounts that are like, ha ha ha, Final Fantasy Pixel Collection wasn't number one. It's like, but why are there these expectations that these little games... I doubt Final Fantasy Pixel Collection was super high on the PlayStation list. I mean, on the Switch list, it might have been pretty high, but a lot of these games wouldn't be super high on anyone's most played paid lists.
No, it's
Like,
even like
why
the
is...
Marvel versus Capcom Fighting Collection came and went. I don't think anyone, like, a lot of people were treating it like an enormous launch, but it's not a big budget thing. They don't expect to sell millions of them. Like, that's why they don't put a ton of, but they don't put a lot of money into them. Like, but yeah.
Like, I understand if it was like number 300 on the chart, but like, even if it's top 30, top 40,
It's
for
pretty
what
good.
it is, for what it is on the platform it's on, that's not bad. Like, keep your expectations in check. I understand social media has warped people's brains, but try and keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
A Final Fantasy Pixel Collection that they're charging $1,073 for. I can't believe the price of that Pixel Collection.
It's
See the
crazy.
price of it?
Yeah,
It's
it's always
insane.
crazy money.
The price of that, for what it is and for what they're charging for it on a platform like Xbox, where JRPGs don't sell that great, I reckon it's doing okay.
Yeah.
No one's
agree.
surely no one was expecting it to be like number one, were they? Just why are all these unrealistic expectations on Xbox all of a sudden?
Console
Because
wars.
it's Xbox.
It's like that other Malacca brain that's like, oh, I can't believe Atlas would market their game with Xbox. No one knows what Metaphor ReFantazio is because it's being marketed with Xbox. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's
then
the
there's-
opposite side of the coin to people going, oh, why aren't Microsoft marketing their games? They don't need to market to you. You already know about it.
Yeah, but this guy was like implying that it was Atlas's fault.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
like,
know. It's so dumb.
Microsoft would have gone to them and thrown a absolute truckload of money at them to market Metaphor ReFantazio. You're also ignoring the fact that a bunch of other Persona games were marketed with Xbox and they seemed to do okay. Like, oh my god, it's so
just
much
dumb.
brain rot out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. XboxEra is on Threads now, the Instagram Meta competitor to Twitter, mostly because it's far less toxic out there, and we haven't integrated. You can just tweet stuff, so that's nice.
I mean, it won't be long. It won't be long before it gets toxic.
Yeah,
It won't be long. Twitter didn't start toxic.
It depends entirely on moderation, and Twitter did away with all their moderation, so it's just gotten horrendous.
It's just bad out there, man. It's just bad.
I'm just saying. I started on Twitter in 2009. It wasn't super toxic straight back then.
No,
It became toxic over time.
It's gotten a lot worse since it was bought, and all of the people who used to moderate it heavily were fired. But we do have the XboxEra account and myself both got followed by Phil. So we'll definitely use Threads more.
I got followed by Phil.
On Twitter.
No, on Threads.
Oh, nice. I didn't know you were on
He
there.
He started following me pretty much as soon as I joined Threads
When was that?
last year.
Because he literally did one post on Threads and then never went back until a couple weeks ago, and it's the only place
now
he
he's
is
on
now.
it a lot. Now
I
he's on it a
get
lot.
the sneaking suspicion that that's actually Phil and not whoever handles Phil's Twitter account. You know, like because it's not as monitored, perhaps.
He still posts on Twitter. He still
Yeah, I know.
retweets and whatever on Twitter.
Yeah, that's pretty much
But
all it's been, has been retweets. These are the more personal, this is probably him posts.
Hopefully, hopefully, what's his face? Hey, there's Gaz. Hopefully, what's his face buys Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is his name. Mark Cuban. Yeah. Hopefully, Mark Cuban buys Twitter. Apparently, he's looking at buying it off Elon.
Probably wouldn't
I hope
cost
so.
much. But
No, he'd probably get it for
is
about
Elon's ego
$60.
booster. Like Twitter is there to try and make him feel better about himself. And that's why he won't fight bots, because a very large percentage of his followers supposedly are bots. And he doesn't want that number to go down. He's at 200 million. Even if like 100 million are bots, he won't stop it because it's the only way he feels good about himself.
And they allow porn now on Twitter.
Well, they kind of always
They
have.
allow it. They allow it. Well, apparently before they didn't allow it. Now they
just
officially
didn't fight
allow
it.
it.
Yeah, they didn't allow it,
It's
but
the
they never
worst.
fought it. Yeah.
It's the worst thing to just be randomly scrolling and then porn.
Thanks, Shingo.
Like you can't look at Twitter like out and about. It's dangerous.
You know how many times I've been on my phone while trying to watch it? Because being on the phone sometimes helps me stay awake if I'm watching a movie. Because I'm an old man and I fall asleep real easy watching a movie. So I'll just be on Twitter. And all of a sudden, just some random porn appears. My wife happens to be looking at the phone. And she's like, oh my God, what are you looking at? I'm like, it just appeared there. I wasn't looking at it.
Yeah. He's looking at it. He's looking at it. He's delighted it's there. Yeah, it's
Okay,
bad.
the second part, I don't necessarily disagree with. The second part you just said, I don't necessarily disagree with.
A wise man. Necessarily. Plausible deniability, bro.
I don't necessarily disagree.
Yeah. So Square Enix releasing Final Fantasy games on Xbox. Good news. But Xbox aren't done asking questions from those platform holders or other developers as to,
God.
why won't you release it on Xbox, guys? Please, we're right here.
Oh, gee, I wonder.
And they are doing a kind of Xbox research piece looking for direct feedback from developers about game tools, pain points, and more. So yeah, this is expanding its Xbox research team to include the community of actual game developers, asking for feedback directly about them, about all of those things that they think about Xbox. This is a very similar program to their existing Xbox Insider one, but it's rather than us, the general public, it's game studios and
Do
stuff
they
like that.
seriously need to do research on this? How
It's
is it not
Microsoft.
obvious?
All they do is research. That's 90%
They
of
are
their
a
company.
data-led company, mate.
Like, come on, man. Hire me. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. You can save a bunch of money. Just hire me and I will tell you everything wrong and why they're skipping Xbox, why they're ignoring Xbox. Jesse, you can give me a look, but I've spoken to developers who have told me directly. I can tell them they can pay me much, much, much less than what they're going to pay the
If you
people
talk
in
to
this research
5
team,
people-
and I'll tell them.
That 5 people is not enough. They want 500 to 5,000 before they care.
It's a combination of the devs I've spoken to. It's a combination of fucking logic and using your brain. It's a combination of all those factors. It's insane to me that they need to know why they're being skipped. It should be fairly obvious.
It is a few teams they have that are already doing this stuff and just broadening what they do. It's not. I highly doubt this is something being spun up new and they have no idea what's going on.
I saw a tweet from Wandering Dutch. He just went, Xbox. You don't need an Xbox to play Xbox games. Also Xbox. Why won't you make games on our box?
Yeah.
Xbox, let me introduce you to something called actions and consequences.
Yeah.
The cloud
I tweeted the
needs
same
an
thing.
Xbox version,
I posted a picture saying
I
no
know.
console required. It's like, there you go. Like, that's one of many reasons why.
But from a game developer perspective, they know that the console, they have to develop an Xbox version for it to work on the cloud. Doi. Right? They know
Okay.
that. They're not dummies.
Yeah.
So,
But what I'm saying is the marketing message, no console required.
And
but
Why
game
are we being
developers
skipped?
game developers wouldn't look at that and go, we should skip the platform. The problem Microsoft have with the platform is their insistency, I think, of not fighting for their place in the market as much. And they're instead
But that's what that
focused
no
on
console required is about.
increasing revenue. Yeah, I guess, but from a game developer perspective, they would know that there's a difference between the marketing message and the reality. No console required. We still have to make an Xbox version for cloud to work. You with me?
I don't. Yeah, I am with you, but I don't see what that's got to do with anything.
Because this is for game
The
developers,
point
not
is-
Joe Public.
I know it's for game developers, but it's a knock-on effect. So when you tell the public you don't need a console, less people buy the console, which means less opportunity for people to buy the games. which means developers will go, well, if we're going to sell fuck all on Xbox because no one's buying an Xbox, we'll skip the platform.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, with you.
It's a knock-on effect, yeah?
Yep.
When you change the GDK on people and it costs a lot of money to change the GDK to fix issues with certain engines, some developers won't bother, like Capcom, and they'll be like, well, fuck it, we won't bother. They skip the platform. Game Pass would be a contributing factor. Game Pass would be a contributing factor too.
Yeah, we won't unless we get a Game Pass deal.
Yeah, Game Pass, I'm not saying it again. I said earlier, there's a lot of reasons. Game Pass would be a factor because it would affect some sales. It would be cannibalizing some sales of some types of games. It would also be a factor. And I'm sure some of the devs are probably telling them that in this research team.
Yeah. It's funny, I'm scrolling through the Twitter thread on this news report from The Verge. Someone actually posted a picture of Scalebound because they cancel projects. Scalebound.
So
God.
I do think what's getting lost, this is part of something bigger. It's just getting all the focus. So it's a new program that it used to be before. The change now is it's everyone who works at in-game development. It's not just certain people. This already existed for certain people. It's being opened for more. And why you're not on the platform is one part of it. It is not the program. It's just that thing that caught your eye with the headline.
That's the headline, yeah.
Yeah. It's not they're coming up with a whole new system to figure out why people are on it. It's they've got this system they've already had. They're opening up to more people who make video games, and this is one part of that system. If you read the
But you know what else is silly about this? Isn't this US only?
For now, they're hoping to expand it. As a US company, they normally start in the country they know. Yes.
I understand that.
They should expand
it's also
it.
the
I agree.
country. Yes, it's the country they're doing best in. So you're not going to get appropriate feedback.
Well, they've already got the Xbox Japan and the whole Southeast Asia thing is already there and really focused on this already. So I don't know.
I think the good thing here is, we've cherry picked, or generally the media has cherry picked.
While the program will gather feedback about tools, performance, tuning, debugging utilities.
What do you want in the next gen console?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
There's also if you aren't on Xbox, we'd love to know why part. That is a part of the whole.
Yeah. I'm sure the development environment would be a part of it. We've spoken about the development environment in the past. But again, surprisingly, I've spoken to devs who have been like, actually, it's easier to make a game on Xbox than PlayStation. From a pure coding development perspective, they actually told me they found it easier on Xbox, Switch being the easiest of the lot, which further helps Nintendo's situation.
From the sound of this, it is a new program within Microsoft's Xbox Insider one, which is now open to all members of game studios, not just technical employees. So I don't know if it was something they already had for technical employees, and now they've opened it up, or if it is fully something completely new. The article doesn't make it fully clear from Tom.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, the clickbait nature of the headline means that the conversation focuses on just that one element, right? And doesn't talk about the broader picture of Xbox are opening up more communication with existing development teams and new ones to try and get feedback across the board. And one tiny question out of probably 100 questions is, if you're not releasing on our platform right now, why not?
If you've ever used the Xbox Insider app and you get those surveys every now and then, it would probably be one of the potential surveys, is how I read it, because they've said it's part of the Insider program, but for devs instead of the public. So
yeah.
Still hire me, I can fix it.
There you go. Well, in other news, Xbox aren't the only folks focusing on their, what do we need to do for our development environment? PlayStation are thinking ahead.
Don't worry about this.
Oh,
you didn't delete it?
Yeah, I'll delete it now. Who cares? Everyone's going to use AI. Who gives a shit?
Okay, PlayStation using AI, but Nick doesn't want to talk about it.
Who cares?
Halo Infinite got a third-person player mode announced. That's cool.
Now that's interesting. Like, in the end, it's an option. And I've always said options are fine. I'm just like, I don't feel like this was something people were clamoring for. Like, again, it's an option. That's fine. COD's got it too. Call of Duty's got a third-person mode. That's and Fortnite has a first-person mode, or he's getting a first-person mode.
I think it's been like
I can't
announced or
remember
hinted at, but yeah.
Yeah, and they've been working on it. Like, again, it's an option. I'd be very interested to see if they ever release numbers on how many people actually use it. But I don't know. I saw the footage they posted on Twitter, and it looked odd to me. Because you know how third-person games that are built as third-person games have a very different look and animation to first-person games that get a third-person mode.
Yeah.
It's a very different look.
Yeah, it feels to me like when you die and you're in death cam. And
Yes.
and I'm like, okay, but you've just fleshed that out. Like, I don't know who it's for, but I guess I can understand if you've spent a ton of Spartan bucks on fancy looking armor sets and stuff, maybe you'll get to see them more now. Cool. But otherwise, like, I don't know who. Like, I saw people posting like, oh, this is what's going to get me back in. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. It's like, what?
This is going to get you back in? I mean, outside of the novelty of playing Halo after 25 years of playing Halo in that way, outside of that, for like a few minutes, then I'd be like, ugh. Get me back to my first-person world. Thank you.
I don't think people understand with these games that have perspective changes. When a game is not built with that perspective in mind, it's not what you think. Like, it's a totally... Developing a third-person game versus developing a first-person game is so vastly different. It's not just a matter of, oh, yeah, we'll just change the camera perspective. It's not... And I'm no developer, but I've seen... I saw one developer tweet once, started a thread on it, and it was such a fascinating thread to read from a developer perspective about developing for... and it was a Sony dev doing it too. It was a PlayStation developer, I think from Santa Monica, who did this massive thread on developing for first person versus developing for third. And it was fascinating. If anyone can happen to find it, if anyone watching happens to know the tweet I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure it was the Santa Monica dev who tweeted all about the things you have to think of when developing for third versus first. And it was riveting. And I'm not being a smartass. It was a fascinating read.
Yeah, I have vague memories of reading something of that nature, but God, it was years ago now. Like, it was
I look at
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And I look at how Halo looks in third. I look at how COD looks in third and all that sort of stuff. And it makes me think back to that thread and what he was saying.
Yeah, it feels to me like a kind of fun mod, you know, that like someone else might release. And like, don't get me wrong, the animations that have already put in place for Halo Infinite look pretty good when you're viewing them from your current perspective. So I can understand why they're like, yeah, you know, this might work. And maybe there are special game modes they're thinking ahead for this. But the thing with it as well is, like, I think of people doing ninjas and stuff. Now you're going to have this extra peripheral vision around your player. You'll be able to jump back and like melee and do all sorts of stuff like that, where you might not have been able to see that before. I don't know. Nick's about to wake up. But yeah, cool for them.
Boy,
HCS World's going on at the moment.
3 hours. Woo.
No. HCS Worlds is on at the moment, I believe, in Seattle. Ursel is there, and he was delighted. I'm sure he told the Discord yesterday, as well as us. Someone recognised him from the "You Had Me at Halo" podcast, which is lovely, because, you know, he's like, oh, we've been doing it for a while. I think they've just done episode 90 or 91.
I thought they stopped doing "You Had Me at Halo."
No, they do it every now and then. It's just infrequent. You know, if something happens, they'll probably do another one based on this and his feedback from Worlds. But it was a nice surreal moment for him to be recognised from XboxEra. Oh, it's you. Oh, cool. So good for you.
Would you play third-person Halo? I wouldn't.
I'd log in and give it a go, but I'd probably revert back to first person. My muscle memory needs it.
I've never tried third-person COD either. I have no interest.
Never
Like,
have I.
that's not... COD is a first-person shooter. Like, it wasn't made with third in mind. I've seen the footage of it, and it looks odd. It doesn't look right. Like, you can tell it wasn't built with third person in mind. And the same goes the other way, but not to the same extent. Going from third to first. It's still something off about it, but not to anywhere near the same level.
My gut says is they're trying to hopefully try and entice some of the Fortnite crowd that are used to playing in third person. Maybe. I don't know.
Just a different crowd, not maybe necessarily
maybe it's just
Fortnite.
a bit of fun. Bit of fun, because they can.
Yeah,
Why not?
But I go to Halo for something entirely different to Fortnite.
And it's still there.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Like, I
don't think Fortnite. Just think people who don't play Halo. That's who they're trying to entice. They're trying to get. It's a fun thing for veterans, and it's something different to maybe yoink in some new players.
It might get you going, oh, what's that? It's a third-person game.
First-person shooters make me feel sick. Maybe I can try this now.
Yeah, it might be for people that get motion sick with first-person. I don't know. But whatever. It's a fun little thing. It's no big deal. Work in progress, coming soon, etc., etc. Kind of nifty. Next up, the development team at GSC World released their Stalker 2...
who cares? Don't you dare say that, Nick.
war game documentary. It is an hour and a half long. I've watched about 40 minutes of it. I got like the press release a couple of hours before it actually went live to the public. So I was watching the unlisted video. I haven't finished it yet because I just haven't had the time. But the 45 minutes I watched was jaw-droppingly brutal. What those guys have gone through and the kind of steps they've done to try and keep their game going and the business going and the people safe is crazy. So hats off to those development guys and the company for actually looking after everyone as best they can. Would recommend watching it, folks. It is it's an eye-opening documentary. It's directed by the same guy that did the Power On documentary for Xbox. So slightly different vein this time around. But obviously with Stalker 2 dropping next month onto our consoles and PC, it's worth having an idea of what the development team actually went through to bring that game to your door or your console. But definitely give it a watch. Next up in news, you want to talk about this one, Nick, or am I striking it off the list? Another Nintendo lawsuit thing.
I mean, Nintendo are assholes. They're taking down another emulator, which is
the end.
Well, I mean, what can you say?
I know.
They're
I'm with you.
dickheads. They're dickheads about this
And
stuff.
this one was different too, because this one wasn't they DMCA'd it or threatened lawsuits. They knew it was in Brazil and they didn't have a case, so they went to the guy's house and bought him out. Pretty much is what it sounds like.
Wow.
Yeah.
They leaned on him. They did a Simpsons Bill Gates, buy him out, boys. And like it just went in and started pushing furniture over and shit in the dude's house. Like it was, I don't know. Like the whole piracy emulation thing, it's like I look at Nintendo who sell software hand over fist, right? How much is piracy actually affecting Nintendo?
It's not really.
I doubt most people that are pirating Nintendo stuff would have bought it otherwise. I think that people have done research on this, and it's been shown that most of the people that pirate weren't planning on buying anyway.
I think it's even more than that. I think that a lot of people that are pirating older Nintendo stuff, like legacy console stuff, are
like the
already
Wii U.
massive Nintendo enthusiasts that probably own it all anyway.
And their games you can't buy anymore because those stores are gone.
So they're like, I want to play them. I want to play my childhood again. I own it all because I'm a massive, and that's where I'm like, guys, look after your community. Don't kick them in the teeth. They just want to play your games.
Well, there was a guy,
made great games.
There was a guy who got a copyright strike, which is the 3 and you're out, for showing an emulated game on a Wii U in a video. Like just showing it on there.
Yeah. For a console that is no longer available commercially with
a
digital store that's closed.
Yeah. It's fucking stupid. Like I don't understand why they're like that.
Yeah, they are very renowned for litigiously protecting any of their copyright IP and stuff like that.
The
And I
only
guess
thing
that's
can
to
think
just
of
build a
is-
reputation to stop people from even thinking about doing it.
Maybe, but like the only thing I can think of is that for the people that stream their stuff is, I don't know, do they think, oh, you're making money? I don't know, you're making money off it. I don't know. I don't know what their fucking logic is. Like, it's just like
It's
I
an
said,
odd
man. Don't worry. The old '80s asshole Nintendo is still there under the surface,
Thriving.
Yeah, it's always bubbled underneath the friendly veneer, and always been there. But in 2024, in today's gaming world, they can't get away with the shit they used to in the 80s. So now this is their outlet to release their inner evil. They can't threaten publishers anymore. They can't do all the anti-competitive illegal shit they used to do in the 80s. So this is now their outlet. Going after little people and suing them and threatening them and and doing shit like that.
It's fucking gross, isn't it? Oh, Nintendo. Absolute dicks. Oh. Anyways, last big news topic that we were going to talk about, it's an interesting one, is Ubisoft. We obviously covered and spoke about with the community last week about all of their troubles, with the delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows, the underperformance of Star Wars Outlaws, the leaked memos that threw the development team of AC Shadows under the bus, the acknowledgement of the general toxic right-wing grifty nonsense that is just ridiculous. And now it seems that there are discussions ongoing that Ubisoft might be considering being bought out and going private with Tencent, who own just shy of 10% of Ubisoft as it currently stands today. This obviously came via Bloomberg, considering different options, but one of them is potentially buying out Ubisoft entirely. Shares have dropped nearly 40% over the course of 2024, and Tencent owns 9.2% of Ubisoft's total voting rights, and the Guillermo family holds just over 20%. So, I mean, what do you reckon here? Like, personally, and I know Jesse's with me on this, the Avatar game, gorgeous, great game. Division 1 and 2, great. Star Wars Outlaws, I haven't played it yet, but I know Jesse's been streaming it again, loves it, right? And really enjoying it. AC Shadows, they've delayed it. It's the right decision if the game's not ready, especially. But does it warrant a complete buyout? What do you reckon, guys?
I mean, they've been in trouble for a fair while now, haven't they?
They strike me as a team that is like Activision was become completely reliant on COD. They struck me as a team that has almost become completely reliant on like Assassin's Creed and maybe some partnerships. And when they don't work on their own IP, and they've got all of these licensed things like Avatar, when they don't hit, you're in trouble.
No, I think Ubisoft is different to ABK in that, at least under Bobby, ABK was all in on COD and fuck anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Where Ubisoft is like, okay, AC is what's sort of carrying us, but let's try X Defiant. Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's try Skull and Bones. And it just, none of it worked. But at least they were trying to bring in other stuff so that they're not so solely reliant on Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but my point is Skull and Bones contractually obligated to Singapore, right, for that particular development because of the use of, I don't know, the region or certain things.
But that's...
Same with Outlaws, same with Avatar, right? These are licensed IPs. And by not owning that IP, when it flops, well, that's it.
No, I know, but I'm just making a point in how they're different to ABK.
I like that they try to do other things. You're right.
They are trying to not rely on Assassin's Creed so much, whereas Bobby was unashamedly all in on COD. It's like, High Moon, no more cool Transformers games, you're on COD. Raven, fuck all your cool X-Men and whatever other games you were doing, you're on COD. You're on COD, you're on COD, you're all on COD. Fuck everything else. Ubi's the opposite. It's like, okay, AC is our COD, but we don't want to just rely on AC. Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's try the other. And they all just did not work out, unfortunately,
I think
for them.
the biggest thing for Ubisoft is different, where it is constant overscoping, or not matching their scope and having budgets just balloon to all hell and back, so
Because
that
they've still got too many staff. They still have too many staff.
Everything takes too long. Like they're 20. By the time Beyond Good and Evil 2 comes out, it might be $1 billion game simply because it's been being made for like 20 years. There's no way about it. It's been being made.
When was
for
that announced?
So long.
2008.
Yeah, it's gonna be, by the time that game comes out, it might be 20 years.
20 years it will be when it comes out. That's
So-
a record. That's a record.
If the people who are in charge buy out everyone else, it doesn't fix the main problem that the people who are in charge can't seem to run things efficiently despite all of their employees. That is the main problem. It is their efficiency is terrible. They're putting out good games, but they have to sell like crazy because they cost so much more than they're supposed to.
Buy Prince of Persia. Everyone,
And-
please buy Prince of Persia.
They train their customers to wait a couple months to get their games half off on sale.
Yeah, that's the other problem. It's just, yeah. I feel for them because at least they're trying. I guess,
Yeah.
But it is executives who also have led a terrible company. So I don't feel bad for them. I feel bad for their devs who are putting good games out, but have seemingly constantly had terrible management, it would appear, from afar.
yes, we do hear the stories. I had, if it wasn't for ABK, I 100% firmly believe Microsoft would have been all in on Ubisoft. If it wasn't for ABK, I reckon they'd be front of the line to buy them, especially now with how cheap they'd be to buy.
I don't know, but 19,000 employees. Eesh.
I know, but I'm talking pre-ABK being bought.
Still, they were massive. Like,
But
comparatively to
they would have cut a bunch. They've
Yeah,
done it with
I know, imagine
ABK. They would have just cut a bunch.
The
Even
villains.
you
of
think about how
Microsoft.
much ABK added versus what's been cut, it's nowhere near the same.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't have cut 8,000 from Ubisoft. It would have been 1 or 2 maybe. Like if you're comparing them directly, like it is bonkers just how many places Ubisoft has people and how many people are at those places.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. They don't seem to, like most big publishers, you see them. They do massive layoffs. Ubisoft, I'm not saying they don't do layoffs, but despite their size, they don't seem to do a ton comparatively.
They're not as
relative
big
to their size.
They're pretty consistent, but smaller. Like there was like 50 last month or something at one place. Like they definitely happen. They're just not the 1,000 gone.
No,
type
that's
thing
what
you
I'm
see.
saying.
Yeah.
They do cuts, but you'd think, given that they're a 20,000 strong development force, you'd think they'd be cutting people in the thousands to trim to get the number down. But surprisingly, they don't. So it's just, I always found that strange. In a good way, I guess, because it means people aren't getting sacked, so it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just when you're accustomed.
In some ways, I admire them through all of their experiments when things don't go wrong. They haven't done massive.
No.
They've done some, but it's not been as astronomically bad as it could have been. And you know what? With all of this, it might be coming.
And that's what I mean. Like, despite their size, despite so many allegedly unsuccessful games, they don't do massive layoffs. I just find that odd. Again, in a good way, it's just that we're so accustomed to the horrible news that it's strange to see that situation.
Yeah. Well, I
I
guess.
haven't gotten many likes this stream. Well, it's 67.
Do you know what? It's probably because I
I know,
haven't said, "Hey,
did-
where's
I did
Cheeseworks?
I did put
Where's
up my like
Cheeseworks?
Apple
Cheeseworks,
emoji.
like the stream, y'all. Yeah, do hit the thumbs up button. Be very kind of you. Thanks, folks. Appreciate you all. But that honestly, in terms of actual like news this week, it's been pretty quiet. Pretty quiet on the Western Front. So
That'll do.
that'll do.
You always
Pig.
want a short show. You always want a
Yeah,
short
I'm all
show.
for it, mate. It's 1:20 in the morning. If I can be in bed by 2, I'd be a very happy man. Got a lot to do today, including tomorrow, including continuing my work on reviewing. You may have seen me show this on Twitter earlier. Reviewing Halo Flashpoint, a full-on board game that is emulating 4v4 Halo games, but with board game mechanics. Intrigued? I am too. I will reveal more when the time is right, because I've got to play it a load, but we'll see. Anywho's, coming up on the website next week, just FYI, we have got a review for Metaphor ReFantazio coming. I'm sure you'll be very excited and pleased to hear, because, just in case you were only on Xbox and you're watching and you're on PlayStation right now, that game is coming to your platform. You might be...
As an Xbox marketed game that no one knows about, we will be sure to give it our patented Mega Boost
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
order to help get the awareness of this niche Atlas JRPG out there.
Never
Don't
heard
worry.
of him.
We'll do our part.
One of the other games that is, I think it releases on Friday, is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and we should have a review for that one as well.
Yeah. Funnily enough, XboxEra patron SJ had a question around Metaphor ReFantazio. And he says, hey, fellas, is it just me, or does it seem like Xbox is damned if they do and damned if they don't? People complain online about Xbox's lack of marketing games, but now people are complaining that Xbox is the one marketing Metaphor ReFantazio, as some PlayStation players didn't realize it was coming to PlayStation. The fact that PlayStation players
So the
didn't
marketing
realize the
worked.
game was coming to their platform means the marketing worked. Kind of like what happened with Hogwarts Legacy, which was the flip reverse of that, where people weren't sure if Hogwarts was coming to Xbox. That is the point of marketing, people.
That's the whole point of the marketing. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
To associate that game with that platform. When I'm at the gym, I see NBA 2K25 ads on ESPN, and all those ads have a PlayStation end screen, that PlayStation with the logo and all that at the end of NBA 2K25.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole idea. That is the point. They want you to associate that game with that platform and not realize it's on another one. So when you walk into the store and want to buy NBA 2K25, I guess you got to buy it on PlayStation, because that's what the ad said. It's only on PlayStation. That's the idea. That's why they do it.
Yep, absolutely. Funny that. All that money being spent just to make you think that that's the only console you need.
No, Abdul. We like, people who are in the know aren't going to believe it. That marketing you see is for the uber casuals, like the people that basically know almost nothing about video games. It's not for us that know, and the people that know everything is multiplat. It's for the people that don't know. So they see the ad and see this thing that maybe looks cool to them. They're like, oh, what's this anime style video game? And then at the end they see Xbox and go, oh, it's an Xbox game.
Yeah.
That's the idea. It's not
That's
for
the
us.
point.
It's not for people in the know. It's for others.
There you go. Anywho, as we're now, heading towards a little game show or two, it's important to remind everybody that the whole podcast and everything you see on the YouTube channel, Jesse's streams, our long form reviews, all those bits and pieces are only made possible by our wonderful patrons.
Oh, Nick hates
without
it,
you guys, we couldn't do anything really. So we owe you. We'd have to do lots and lots of horrible articles and stuff. So big thank you to all of our patrons. If you want to become one, as have some of the people that have joined this episode and over the last couple of days, we really, really appreciate your support. Head to patreon.com/XboxEra, and for as little as a cup of coffee a month, you get to join the elite club of cool kids. One of the perks of that, outside of community questions, is that every week Nick and I will participate in a little game show where we'll try and win one of our patrons a video game code from Jesse's big long list of video game codes. This week we're playing What Year, my dear? What year, my dear? So this game is all about Nick and I guessing the correct year, or as close to it as we can, without going over of whatever theme Jesse has come up with this week. Nick, presuming you're all ready to rock and roll, who are we playing for this week, my friend?
I am playing for Trezino, and you are playing for Wayne Moore.
More.
Remember that game?
The More. I loved The More. It's a great little
That was a
game.
good game.
Yep.
It's a good game.
Big fan. All right, Jesse, dare I ask? I'll get my phone at the ready for my calculator to come up. What's the theme this week?
The theme this week is games published by Ubisoft. So that's a long ass history. Actually, I gotta get the scoreboard up. I completely forgot about
Games
that.
published by Ubisoft.
Games published by the Ubisoft. And
Published.
All right, come on, scoreboard, come up. I dare you. Nope, that's not it. The hell's this stupid scoreboard? There it is. Hey, got it. You can see I use keepthescore.com. Oh, why is it the wrong size?
What is it you can't face?
All right. Okay. I feel like I'm not going to be as screwed as I was last week, because last week
I would
was
hope
tough.
not. Okay, please, for the love of God. Nick, we have to take this serious because it might be the last one I ever do. They're now talking about Category 3. Potentially. Also, that's way too loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There, get that lower.
Might be the last one you ever do. So we'll be doing the podcast in a StreamYard for the foreseeable future.
Yep, just the two of you. Oh, boy, this is going to suck. I have nowhere to go.
Come to Melbourne.
So the
don't
shitty
have
thing about the
hurricanes.
hurricane is that it's literally covering everywhere we'd go to. Like, it's just, there's nowhere to go. It just goes through the whole state to the east and north. So to get away from it, have to drive like 10 hours north. Not easy to do.
That sucks.
All right, number one for what year, my dear? What year did Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, release on the Xbox 360?
Oh, mate.
Got
Fuck.
it. I'm ready.
All right, gentlemen, give me your years in 3, 2, 1. 2010, 28. It is, in fact, actually, I got to go back to it to make sure I get it right. 2010.
Oh, well played, mate.
So you put
Like
Nick,
I legitimately knew that one.
Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure. I forgot I could actually remember to keep it up before I tab away to grab something else off of their list of games that they have made. What year did the original Rayman release for the Atari Jaguar, Sega Saturn,
Oh,
DOS, and Windows?
God.
Oh, shit.
Number one. Sega Saturn, Atari Jaguar. That gives you an idea on the year.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, maybe you, because you know stuff, but not John. All right,
Okay,
gentlemen,
got my year.
give me your year in 3, 2, 1. 96 and 95. We are now tied. It was a 1995.
Just get in.
Really?
Hmm.
I thought the Saturn came out in 95.
Maybe it was that early. Ooh, all right. So I'm trying to get ones that they themselves not only published, but did, what the hell you call it? Friggin' developed, because those are ones you might know more as them. What would be a good one here? Oh, those are too easy. Can't do those. Oh no, that's Game Boy Advance game. No one cares about Game Boy Advance, so we're gonna go with this one. What year did... Oh god, that's way bigger. I gotta change this to make it look all right. What year did Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time release on GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox?
Ooh, shit.
Yeah.
fuck.
Yes, I am. If this hurricane comes right at us, Nick.
Okay. I might be too early on this one. Shit,
Gentlemen.
I might be too early.
Give me your year in 3, 2, 1. John is now in the lead by 3. It is
I was too early.
2003.
I knew it, and I was going to put 03 as well. I said it as soon as I wrote it. I'm like, I think I'm a year too early. And I fucking was.
All right. The next one. When? Oh, God damn it. Not this version of it. That's just that.
I bought that game on PS2 or OG Xbox. I can't
Ooh,
remember.
I remember that
That's
one.
on OG Xbox.
I'm going to go
Sands
a
of
little
Time
weird
was
with it.
great.
What year did Far Cry Vengeance release for the Nintendo Wii? You never played this
I don't
one?
know.
Oh. It was a Wii game.
Never heard of it.
What's the
Mate.
Wii game?
Crying Brother?
Crying sister.
This one is
fucking hell.
definitely a crying brother where I'm just like,
For the Wii.
No
When did the
idea.
Wii come out?
2006.
2006?
Gentlemen.
No idea. This is a random guess.
Give me your year in 3, 2,
I'm sure John will get it
1.
right.
Oh.
You're both wrong. You're both too late. It was 2006.
Oh.
God, that's when the Wii
Of course,
came
it would
out.
have been the special partnership
That's-
era of the Nintendo console where we'll release third-party games for you, Nintendo.
Yeah, that's. I thought that one was actually kind of a little bit of a
me.
you could guess it because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oh my God, they have so many fucking little tiny things. The amount of games that they
Yeah.
have published is
Yeah.
crazy.
It's insane.
All right, I'm gonna do another stupid one because they're more fun.
God.
So there was a game called Zombie U. This is not
Oh,
a
yeah,
Zombie
what a
U.
game. Oh.
This is Zombie. Published on the Amiga, Atari ST, Commodore 64, DOS, and ZX Spectrum. The original Zombie.
Oh, mate.
Published and developed by Ubisoft.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that Zombie U was technically a remake. I completely forgot about that.
I think that this was before my time of walking upright. So I must have
Yeah,
been
it would have been.
so young. Like I'm pretty sure this is mid something. I'm not going to give you the answer.
It probably is. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here because I don't actually know. And I am going to say...
Gentlemen, give me your year in 3, 2, 1. John is closer. It was 1990. He gets 1 point.
Oh, wow, that's fucking late.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. One all of us played and loved. Gentlemen, let me know, what year did Immortals Phoenix Rising release?
Oh crap.
Oh, shit.
Life comes at you fast.
Oh, is it?
Oh, shit.
Is it that or is it that? It's one or the other.
No.
It's one or the other.
One of the t'other.
Oh, shit.
This is gonna drive me nuts.
Gentlemen,
Oh, shit.
give me your years in 3, 2, 1. Taking a commanding 10-3 lead is John with the
bullshit.
correct answer of 2020.
Yeah, because it was. I knew it was on the next gen consoles because that's where I played it, and I played it at launch. So it couldn't have been 2019.
All right, I got to adjust this because it's a lot longer name. Gives you a little bit of a hint. All right, so that is... God, I have not kept count. How many games is that now?
God knows. It's first to 10, right? So
Well, no, it's normally 15 total, whoever has more points. That's what
Oh,
it's
okay.
always been. God, I think that's like 5 or 6. Shit, I had been keeping count in my head. We'll go 6. Then someone can yell at me if I'm wrong. Gentlemen, what year did Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier release
Shoulder.
his Future Shoulder release for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3?
I don't fucking know.
It was a game made by Ubisoft Paris, Red Storm Entertainment, Ubisoft Annecy, Ubisoft Bucharest, Ubisoft Montpellier, and Ubisoft Singapore. Boy, they got a lot of people.
Oh, I reckon. See, this. What annoys me is My guesses are based on something. John just fucking throws out random numbers and happens to get them right. And it
No,
pisses
I
me
know
off.
roughly when this game. We're talking about Graw, yeah?
You watch. Ghost Recon
Yeah.
Advanced Warfighter.
Okay.
This is no.
I'm
this is
pretty
future-
confident.
No, this is Future Soldier.
Oh shit. Okay. Whoa.
Ghost Recon Future Soldier.
Oh. Okay. That's different.
I thought this was part of Graw, though. It was like the
No, that was
third one.
Advanced something, but yeah. No, this is Tom
Warfighter.
Clancy's
There was-
Ghost Recon Future Soldier.
Maybe I'm
Fuck.
way too early then.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
my year.
Yeah. I'm torn.
Raptor.
See ya.
All right. Ghost Recon Future Soldier. Gentlemen, give me your years in 3, 2, 1.
Watch John just pull a number out of his ass and get it right.
27. Okay, it was. In fact, Nick gets the point. 2012.
There you go, mate.
Oh, missed it by a year.
Yeah, would have
I
got you
almost.
really
I
close.
actually almost went 2013.
Then you wouldn't have got a point.
Wow.
Yeah. I almost went
Right.
2013.
We'll call that 7 down. A 6-point lead for John. Now that can disappear in two of these, so we'll see. All right. If I go too old, they're just things like you've never heard of. So I'm trying to not do too many of those because, oh my
Appreciate
God, did they make a lot of friggin' games. It is insane.
Oh, yeah.
I forget. They have 4 pages. Like every decade, they have their own thing because it's just so much shit.
Yep.
All right. Find something good here. Ooh. You know what? We're going to stick around with Tom Clancy. What year did Tom Clancy's End War come out? If you remember this game. That was for the PlayStation.
Fucking hell, this was the
PlayStation
RTS.
3.
I do.
360, DS, and
my
PSP.
God.
Yeah. Console version made by Ubisoft Shanghai. Yeah, it was the strategy game for
Yeah.
the PlayStation 3 and 360.
Could you use the voice to command it?
Ooh.
I think you could.
Which means it would be post Connect.
Giving
Right.
it away, if that's true.
I mean, it's just a guess.
All right, gentlemen, give me your years in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I got a 2010 out of John, a 2011 out of Nick.
No, the other way around. The other way
Whatever.
around.
Nick gets the point. It was 2008.
That late?
Yeah.
Early.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
End War came out in 2008?
Again, you know how close I came to doing 2012 or 2013? I was going to do 2013 until Jesse didn't mention Xbox One and PS4. I was ready to do 2013.
Man, I can't believe that came out in 2008. My mind
Yeah,
is
2008.
blown right now. You must. I'm sure it did have voice. Maybe it was just with a mic, like a headset.
Yes.
Because that's how it was in. Didn't they have that also in like the 360? Rainbow Six Vegas was just through the mic for their voice stuff.
Yeah, and they also had your camera. You used the 360 live camera.
Yeah,
to
that
put
was
your
so
face
cool.
on the character,
That was so cool.
and
I
it just
love
looked
that
like a
shit.
dude who had a stocking on his face.
All right, I'm finally gonna give you an Assassin's Creed game. Gentlemen, what year did Assassin's Creed Rogue come out? Ladybug.
God, Rogue.
Oh, Rogue!
Of all of the
fucking
games you
Assassin's
could have
Creed,
picked.
you of all of the
Is
Assassin's
that the
yeah.
US one?
And for PlayStation 3 and 360. Because it did come out on other things later. Like Xbox One and PS4 and whatnot.
Was this? Help me out. Was this before or after Black Flag?
No, I'm not helping you out.
Ooh,
Oh, come on.
Why would
That's
I
a
help
good
you out?
question. I can't remember that either.
I can't remember it, and I'm like,
So
Was
just
it?
remember, this was PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah, I know, but that doesn't
It was a
necessarily
big.
mean.
It was the reason this one existed. It existed to go on those platforms.
Yeah, I know. But I
Gentlemen,
still think it was post Xbox One and PS4.
that's what I'm saying, idiot. Okay, gentlemen, give me your years in 3, 2, 1. Woo! Ooh, you both are correct. It was 2014.
I nearly went 13 again. That's like 3 times I've almost put 2013.
All right, we'll do a few more. See if Nick can catch up. And what we got? 6 more? 7. Yeah, 5 more now. Down to 5 more. All right. Ooh. Let's go for one of their other big franchises that they bought. Gentlemen, what year did Far Cry Primal release?
Oh, God.
Shit.
Is this... I hate it when they're not numbered.
For
I hate it when they're not numbered.
And this is PS4 and Xbox One to give you the platforms.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Shit.
Far Cry Primal reused the Far Cry 4 map. I'll give you that. It completely rebuilt it, but it reused it
I
essentially.
don't remember when Far Cry 4 came out.
All right, gentlemen, give me your years in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You were both correct. 2016.
Unbelievable.
What year
I
did
was so
Just
close to
Dance
putting
2022
2015.
come out? Oh wait, no, never mind.
Have I just smashed 15 points now? If I got 3 for the last one and 3 for the one after
I don't
that?
get points if you both get it right. There's no point.
Oh, that
It's-
sucks.
it's
I
who
got
has-
15 points.
No, it's who has more points after the whole thing's done. I can give you
Yeah,
both
I want
plus
those
3.
points, baby.
All right, well, it's now 16 to 11 instead of 10 to 5. There's no difference. All right.
There's one difference.
4 more. Nick has to outscore you by 5 over the next 4 questions. Gentlemen, what
It won't
year?
happen because he keeps throwing out random guesses that just end up being right.
What year did the video game Oddballers come out? We reviewed this game.
Okay. Well, that gives me a rough time frame.
That
This was done
narrows
by
it down to the last
Ubisoft,
decade.
Mumbai, and GameSwing
Oddballers.
for the PlayStation 4, Switch, Windows, and Xbox One.
Man.
Jesse's making that out to be older than it is because I don't think it's that old.
No, I don't
Well,
think it is. either.
I'm not making out anything. I just gave you the platforms it released to.
Oh, I'm taking such a fucking gamble on this one. Okay.
Gentlemen, give me your years in 3, 2, 1. Game is now over. That is a correct answer from John. He is now up 8.
I read Jesse's work.
It wasn't me,
I
idiot.
knew
It
it
was
was- I
Gyotso.
knew it was like-
Liar!
I knew it was recent. I
No.
I just couldn't remember how recent.
You need to outscore him 9-0. You need to nail the next 3 and have him not
The
get
next
1.
3.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not over
All
yet.
right. Let's go. Ooh. I remember this game, so it counts. Not developed by, but published by Ubisoft for the Nintendo Entertainment System. When did...
This is just giving it to Nick, isn't it? Come on.
No, John, because the
I didn't
question
own
is...
a Nintendo.
John, the
didn't
question
own a
is,
Nintendo.
when did Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, the action game, come out?
Oh, wow.
This is for Nick. Oh, it's John's one of John's favorite things? Oh.
And I didn't own a NES.
So this
I can
is...
hazard a guess.
So this had come out earlier on PC, published by Lucas, and then Ubisoft published this port onto the Nintendo Entertainment
Thing is,
System.
I don't know when was the NES. I don't know when the NES was.
85.
How the hell do you not know when the Nintendo
I
Entertainment
don't
System
pay
came
attention
out?
to
1985.
Nintendo and what they do.
It was like mid 80s until almost mid 90s. That was the Nintendo Entertainment System era.
All right, got my year.
All right, gentlemen, give us your years in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 90 and 93. Gaining 3 more points and ending this game is John Sickamechanico Clark, as it was released in 1993.
See what I mean? He just throws out random guesses and gets them.
I had no idea.
Do we
Feels
want to
good.
bother with a couple more or just call it? 'Cause-
Yeah, I mean, sure, for fancies.
All right. Quickly. Gentlemen, what year did Beyond Good and Evil release for the friggin' Jesus Christ, Xbox One? And was it PS2? I think it was.
Wait, the original
Original
Xbox,
Xbox.
you mean?
Yeah, the original Xbox. Yes. The heck? Why is it not on this thing? Come on. Oh, it's only PlayStation 2? The hell? Why is it not here in this list correctly? There it is. Okay. Same year for all of them. Gentlemen, give me your year. 2003. Nick got it. 2003.
Too little, too late.
This stupid thing making a pain in the butt. There's like 7 Beyond Good and Evils all in $2,003. So I was like, where the hell's the
How much do you
Xbox
think
one?
Star Wars Outlaws will be discounted down to for my Christmas reward, Nick?
$10.
There you go. It won't be so painful, will it?
What, you know
It's
what?
irrelevant. It comes
There's
out of
a-
Xbox Era money anyway.
There's this fun thing with press companies where they're like, hey, do you have people on your staff who want to check our games out for Game of the Year time?
Yeah, that's true.
We get lots of codes like that at the end of every year for people on staff.
Nice.
Yes, we do.
All right, I'll find one more to round things out. Oh my god, I remember this awful game. I'm not going to do that one though. It was Surf's Up, the friggin' Penguin movie.
Oh god.
Yeah.
06.
I think you're about
06?
right. Yeah, you're probably close. All right, let me go through this list. I want to find a
course
good
I was
one to
fucking
end
right.
on.
I've lost, so of course I'm fucking right every time now.
All right. What year did Trials Rising release for the Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC?
Oh, shit, son. That was great.
Mhm.
I think I've gone too late on this one, but I'm
All
doing
right,
it anyway,
gentlemen,
'cause
give me
it's
your
over.
years in 3, 2, 1. You are both way off. It was Nick's closer. He gets the point. It's 2019
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't
because
too
there
late. I
were
thought I
a
was
bunch
going
of
too late.
Trials ones. Yeah, there
Yes,
were a
there
lot of
was.
Trials games. So.
Yes.
Well, there you go. John won in the end, 22-15 in this episode of probably the final game show we ever do.
Why?
Because I do all of them in OBS, and we can't do them if it's just you two and StreamYard.
Oh. Oh, what, is this when the storm wipes you off the face of the planet? Is that
There has
is
not
that the
been
fear?
there has not been a storm like this in Tampa for over 100 years to actually hit it. And if it's ever so, the last one didn't even hit us and took out most of the coast, and it didn't even touch us. It was just that much storm surge. So this one hits us, and it's supposed to start raining tomorrow and not stop raining until like Friday, and have a hurricane directly hit in a way it hasn't before. So
You jinxed it last week when you're like, oh, it always dodges us.
those
Jinxed
ones
it
do.
hardcore.
When they come up, they curve and they don't bend enough. This one's literally forming
that's what she
on
said.
this one's forming on Mexico and then just heading straight for us, which has not happened. There's always worst case scenario.
Nick, in the show notes, there's the last 4 community questions.
Okay, so I thought you were sort of going to do a better job introducing the community questions.
Well, I kind of introduced them right at the beginning of the show and wax lyrical. That was that whole new intro thing that I did.
I don't like this new format.
Everyone else does.
It is not good.
It's 10 to 2. I love it.
Oh my god! Is that?
Ignore the squished ones. The squished ones we've done.
Yeah.
Just there to help people like
What is that?
remember.
Are you sure you've got them all?
Yes.
Okay. Community questions. We love our patrons. Jesse Brother. Happy podcast 231, Honey Buns. First, a movie recommendation. Wild Robot was freaking fantastic, so make sure to see it either with your kids or just you alone if need be. It actually looks legitimately great from the
Is this
trailer
is
that
this
I've
the
seen.
one from the Train Your Dragon guys? Yeah.
It
my
looks
my
awesome.
missus is taking a bunch of her folks with them, like where she works, to go see it as an outing. And she doesn't like animation unless it's Disney, but she's like, "Oh, this looks quite good." I'm like, "Yeah, it's
Yes.
probably going to be
I
quite."
saw the trailer for it at Despicable Me 4 back in July, and I was like, holy shit, this looks very, very good. Somehow it was even better than Inside Out 2, in my opinion. It even made me tear up, and I felt actual joy, which I honestly didn't know I still could. It probably helped that my long-awaited disability claim with Social Security finally came through this week, and my first payment was a nice retroactive chunk of the last 14 months. Oof. Wow. That's enough to gift me a game. I'm feeling so much relief
immediately
and have
eaten
no-
up by paying rent that was due for those 14 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm feeling so much relief and I'm no longer depressed and miserable, as I'm sure I've made rather obvious with my shitty attitude towards so many petty things recently. So my question this week is, can you fellas forgive me for any undeserved shit you may have felt I sent your way? And regarding any shit you maybe did deserve, as a wise, gorgeous blonde once said, shake it off.
Yeah, all is forgiven, Trav. You're just Trav. That's how you roll.
You really think Taylor Swift is gorgeous?
She's okay.
Not ugly.
Yeah,
No, she's not.
she's pretty
Not
good.
my cup of tea. I usually go the more ethnic look. Bit of Mediterranean in there.
Some severe daddy issues.
What? What?
No, not you. Is that not a bit
No.
you?
What are you talking about? Yes, I'm sure we forgive you. Just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah? That was the question.
yeah. All is forgiven, Trav.
Yep.
Some of your comments have definitely not kept me up at night after the shows. I've just sat there and dwelled upon them.
I have never spoken to
What is it
Jesse
you
after
can't
the
face?
show about stuff you've said about me. Ever. I've never done that. Okay. I've never ever asked Jesse if you actually really do hate me in real life.
Oh, God.
Kind of me. Eddie Murphy, Delirious? Is it Delirious or Raw? I think it was Delirious, where he's like, Hytham G. A statement in question. In this time of month and this time of year, Halloween, is less than 31 days. Nick, are you annoyed? You are annoyed. John, you hate it. And
Correct.
Jesse, you are cool with it. Although you two are begrudgingly will take your children to go trick-or-treating, except for your children, Jesse, since they have their own Halloween plans. But make sure all your gents' kids don't get a single cavity on their teeth. But please excuse I'm marathoning my horror movies. P.S. Nick, I don't suppose you have that Google doorbell that does Halloween chimes anymore, do you? No, I do. I've still got the Google doorbell, and come October, you can pick a theme for the doorbell, and every October we switch it over to the Halloween theme.
Yeah, we've got the Ring doorbell. You can have a witch's cackle as the entrance.
Google just puts whatever they want to put, but you just pick the Halloween theme, and it'll just do ding dong. Like all sorts of shit like that. The kids love it.
The thing is, I try not to do any of that because fuck Halloween. I don't want anyone knocking on the door asking for candy.
You know
I'm
why?
delighted.
Because you hate the
Love it.
Irish, and it's an Irish holiday.
It's not an Irish holiday. It's a
is.
stupid holiday. And the Irish stupid?
According to you, yes, obviously.
Maybe.
I'm part. My grandfather was a redheaded Irishman.
It's not. It's just. I hate it. I hate it. And honestly, and I would say this if regardless of Americans present, it's so American, and I hate it.
My kids love it. They look forward to it so much every year.
I'm so delighted that this year my kids are not here at Halloween, so I am not obligated to buy sweets to give out. I don't have to carve pumpkins. I don't have to take them trick-or-treating. Nothing. I can turn my lights off and pretend I'm not fucking home.
You know what we do?
Glorious.
The only time we do the trick-or-treating thing where we give chocolate and stuff to kids is if we have too many left over from like Easter and all that sort of shit, and we need to get rid of it. We'll be like, we'll put out our decorations so people know to come to our house. Say, here, take it. Just fucking get rid of all this shit. We don't want it in our house anymore.
Yeah, I hate it, and I hate being invited by adults to Halloween themed parties. Oh, you got to dress up. How about you go fuck yourself? Yeah,
No.
fuck that shit. I'm sorry.
Did I ever tell the story of what my 30th birthday theme was?
Did you have to dress up?
I did a theme for my 30th birthday, and it was easily the greatest theme in the history of birthday themes. So much so that everyone was excited about this theme, and said to me consistently throughout the night that this is the greatest theme of a birthday party ever.
What was it?
Tracky dacks.
Tracksuits.
Tracksuit pants. Tracksuit pants, yep.
Wow.
Tracksuits. The theme was just tracksuits. You could just
Glorious.
come in your tracksuit and everyone was like, oh my God, this is the fucking greatest. Because everyone just rolled up nice and comfy and warm in tracksuits in the middle of winter. Everyone loved it. They loved it.
That is pretty good.
Think about it. If you
I
got
went
invited to a party and you got to just wear your tracksuit pants and like a sweatshirt,
I
tell me you
don't
wouldn't be excited.
really own any tracksuit pants.
What? How do you
Don't
not
really-
own tracksuit pants?
Don't really own any.
So what do you wear when you're not wearing shorts or jeans?
My birthday suit, I guess.
What?
My house is nice and warm. If I'm relaxing, I just walk around in my pants and a t-shirt, mate. I have no need for additional leg coverings.
That's so weird. Like tracksuit pants are the perfect around the house pants.
What can I say? I once
Wear
did a
jeans around the house.
no. It depends when during the day I might be wearing them. Don't quiz me on my clothing habits. I did a fancy dress party once when I was 19, whereas everyone had to dress up as 70s porn stars. That was great. Including pulling that night. That was also kind of meta at the same time. It was hilarious.
Bit inappropriate.
Bit inappropriate.
Man, I can't believe you don't wear tracksuit pants. Like I've got them on right now. Look, great trackies. Like tracksuit pants are the best. Sweats. Trackies.
Sweatpants.
They're the greatest. Like down here, it like they've almost taken on another life as an actual fashion statement. Like people wear them out depending on the situation down here.
People do that here. They do the whole matching top and bottom tracksuit thing.
That hasn't been a thing here for a long time.
It's a thing. It's a very roadman thing to do. You know, like the roadman of UK. Have you aware of the roadmen?
What?
Roadmen. It's a UK thing.
I don't know what that is.
I can give you the best example I can give you is if Jesse can type in and bring up roadman Peppa Pig. Roadman Peppa Pig. Like the chat will love it. Like the UK folks will know what I'm talking about.
The fuck is Roadman?
Roadman Peppa Pig.
I have to look this up.
I mean, yeah, he shouldn't get us.
Oh, brother species to the chav.
I mean, if it's using actual Peppa Pig footage, I can't show it.
That's what it says here.
It's
Brother
using
species
actual
to the
Peppa Pig.
chat.
Yeah, we
try,
can show
try, try Roadman Pingu. Pingu shouldn't get dinged. It's way too
Girl,
old.
do you think he's a
Everything
chav?
gets pinged.
Roadman.
Is it on a
fam,
streaming
I ain't
service?
no
It gets
chav
pinged.
in it. Look at my North Face jacket, bruv.
Roadman Pingu is fucking legendary.
It would definitely get anything that you could ever stream or is owned by anyone would get pinged.
I mean, man, this has got 247,000 views.
The average British year 7 who pulled a plastic fork on someone and now thinks they are a fucking madman, they also tend to pull up on kids or old people because they know that's all they can fend off. They like to wear shitty Adidas tracksuits.
Wow.
Here, I'm looking
Buy
at pictures
Tesco
of it for
discount
people,
aisle.
so they have an idea.
Right, man. Yeah, no. Like, you can buy really trendy, almost designer trackies down here now. Like, full-on skinny ones that really shape down and stuff.
The Roadman memes are so funny. Like, honestly, honest to God, if you get a chance, sit down and watch a few episodes of Roadman Pingu and Roadman Peppa Pig. They are ridiculously funny.
Nah, it's not like that. It's not like that. I don't mean it like that.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Trackies have become much more of a fashion statement down here now. Okay.
Broke my flipper flopper, bruv.
Where are we now?
99
99
Ruken.
99 Ruken. Okay. Hey there. We all know more buyouts are going to happen, but my question is, what company offers Microsoft, not Xbox, the most in value? For me, it's Games Workshop, the company behind Warhammer, and this is how it helps them. They could sell figures that get 3D printed by software they own. They could create a D&D Beyond, but for Warhammer. And lastly, video games license them out to third party and have their own studios work on them. I think Epic. Epic Games would be by far, if we're talking big stuff, Epic Games would be by far the most prudent purchase by Microsoft. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, is it this could potentially get through regulators or just dream scenario?
I don't know. It just says what company offers Microsoft the most value, and I think it's Epic.
Yeah, I would agree.
It just, and also they'd never probably be allowed to buy them.
Nope.
No, they probably wouldn't. Not now. Maybe 5 years ago, yes. Not now. Epic gives them their bullshit metaverse that they all are chasing because Fortnite already is the metaverse. Epic gives them the Unreal Engine, which they can use in not just video game development, for making movies. Like they have an into the movie industry proper. It also helps with PlayStack and having Unreal with Xbox. What else? Like I don't know. I just think Epic would be.
Yeah, he is saying
very smart buy.
Get through regulators. Like what would realistic that could happen? That's left.
Oh, okay. Well then, no, not Epic.
Yeah, individual devs and stuff like that. I think.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking from a pure gaming slump, because Microsoft could look at security companies and AI companies,
like
and all sorts of stuff like that. If we're talking from just gaming, I think like the occasional studio here and there.
No, but he's saying, but he's asking. So not only is the qualifier through regulators, we're talking about value to Microsoft, not Xbox. But yet we're also still talking about gaming companies. It seems that's a very awkward combo to try and think of an answer.
Well, probably because the board's looking at value. So, like, what is going to make the board happiest because it makes them money a bunch versus
it would be
how
a
much
game
it costs.
dev with loads of IP. There's value there.
Somebody
IP.
who brings in money constantly. Somebody who doesn't overscope, who is always making money because that is their thing now. They don't want you to be, well, we made a game, it made money, and now it's going to be 5 years before our next game is out to make more money. They would want someone probably mobile focused.
Palworld dev?
Somebody, well, even Palworld is not a live service game. Like they want someone who probably has a killer mobile live service game.
Yeah, maybe a mobile dev would be where they would look.
Maybe.
Like if you're talking value to Microsoft, it's who is going to have our gaming segment be bigger to make shareholders happy.
Sega? That would get through regulators.
No, I don't know if
Sega
it would.
would get through regulators. Why not?
Just because of how big ABK was, mate. There's so much
full
scrutiny.
publishers are going to definitely be tougher than individual devs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I reckon Sega would get through.
A fourth publishing arm might be seen as too much for now. I don't know.
It's a tricky one.
I don't know. I still suspect Sega would get through. Only because Sega's not technically that big. And they're Japanese. And Microsoft always has the angle that they are non-existent in Japan.
And they would give you Rovio.
They always have that angle. And that's what I mean. They give Rovio and they give a lot of ground in PC. And like I said, they're always going to have the excuse that they are a non-starter in Japan. And this helps them get a foothold in that territory where Nintendo and Sony absolutely dominate them. I think it would get through regulators just fine. Anyway.
Tricky one. Sorry, Rukin. It wasn't a great answer because it's tricky.
I don't know. I think it ended up being a good answer. Went with my dream scenario, Sega.
Sticker.
Okay, last question, I think,
It is.
by good old Collingwood. Are you sure we did all of them?
Yep.
Okay. Shit. I just had it in front of me. All right. Happy Mean Girls Day, John, Nick, and Jesse. So last week, Mojang and Xbox had their annual Minecraft live event, a half hour of all the things coming to Minecraft in the next 12 months. So, what was your first experience of Minecraft, whether you played it or not?
My first experience of Minecraft, and I read this question earlier. I did try and get a picture of it. Was we had the guys I play with have a server up, and they were all playing together, and it just was never my kind of game. But there was this infamous moment where Iron Man Tetsuo had built this epically complicated tree and house concoction. It's like the ultimate tree house, and then you could see the chat, and someone's got a screenshot of it, and it's like, "Hey, Iron Man, your treehouse is on fire." And then like people going, "Shit, it's really going up." And you got them in the background, the treehouse is just on fucking fire. And then it just says "shit" from Iron Man, and then Iron Man logged out. Like as if even though everyone was on a live server together, that it would stop it. So he's like, "Oh, F4'd the game," hoping it would stop his treehouse from burning down. It did not. It's that is like legendary amongst our group of friends. It's just like the most ridiculous thing to have happened. But yeah, that was my first ever experience and introduction to Minecraft. I have played it.
God.
I kind of get bored of it.
I think my first experience of Minecraft was trying out a demo on PlayStation 3 and wondering what all the fuss was about. And I walked around for like 2 minutes hitting trees in the ground, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I just stopped and never went back again. And then I liked Minecraft story mode.
Yeah, it was
that
cool.
I enjoyed. And Minecraft Dungeons I enjoyed until I realized it was far more difficult than that game should have been.
Yeah, it got ridiculous.
It is insane how hard that dungeon crawler Diablo clone in a Minecraft skin made for children, how difficult that game is. I to this day, I am yet to die once in Diablo 3. I've been playing Diablo 3 on and off for years on PS4. Haven't died once. Minecraft Dungeons, I have died hundreds of times.
Yeah,
that game
brutal.
is so hard, it is crazy. It almost makes Cuphead look easy. Like, I can't get over how difficult Minecraft Dungeons is. It's nuts how hard that game is.
You had to push the difficulty up to advance. You couldn't advance unless you made it harder. Mine was seeing the kids play it on 360. So we weren't the most wealthy family, but we were able to save up, get a 360, and it was only like $15 on sale, and they got a lot of time out of it. So it was just sitting there watching them. I'd be, futzing around on my laptop that I had at the time, and they'd be on the TV playing Minecraft, and very, very happy little kids.
There's a lot of community questions we haven't read out.
We have.
No, we haven't.
We have.
No, we haven't. When did we read the one that was talking about a genre we'd like to see emerge?
Where was that question?
Huh?
Where was that question?
That one is from LeeLayfield. We didn't read that question.
John, you said you got all the ones in the forum.
This is why I don't like this system.
I'm looking at 231.
There's like 2 or 3 we haven't read.
Expansions. Travis, Bob Lawbill, 99 Ruku, Mort, Hytham G, Travis, Hugh. I'm looking at all the questions right now.
So I think you're looking at last week's, Nick. 230.
I'm right here looking at 231.
The forum.
No, I'm on the Google form.
Well, Jesse did all the Google form screenshots, so I will
For
extract
231?
myself from any blame.
I grabbed.
LeeLayfield.
How many are there? There should
LeeLayfield
be
is third.
8.
8. 8. LeeLayfield is third.
Then somebody moved all the screenshots around and resized them and messed it up, John.
No.
Don't like this new system. I don't like it.
Well, everyone else does it. Now just read Lee's. That's all that happened.
Yeah. Teething problems.
LeeLayfield. Hail. Hope everyone's having a good week. What genre would you like to see emerge over the next few years? It could even be a new genre. For me, I'd like to see co-op boom. Things like Baldur's Gate, Helldivers, and Warhammer prove the market is there. I personally find PvP overcooked at this point. Bring me Left 4 Dead 3, Gabe. A solo Dark Souls He-Man game would also do fine. What genre would I like to see emerge?
I'm agreeing with him on PvP co-op. PvE co-op is where it's at. It's so much more fun and easy to get into and just have a laugh with than super pressurized player versus player stuff. And it's fun to play with friends. So sign me up.
I would have said Metroidvanias, but they're already in a good spot right now. We just got a Game of the Year contender that's a Metroidvania. What else? Co-op. I feel like the reason co-op has died off is because the demographic that was around, the demographic that was there for the golden era of co-op, which was like Gears of War and Halo and all that sort of stuff, we're all a lot older now and don't have, like, all of our schedules don't always line up to be able to do co-op. So I feel that's part of why co-op has kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit in popularity. I don't know. What else? As a genre I'd like to see emerge. God, I don't know. Arcade sports games?
I feel like they've had their time.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'd like it to re-emerge, like your NBA Jam, your NFL Blitz, your all that sort of stuff. You know, a really cool arcadey fun tennis game. I'm tired of, we went from having no tennis games to having a bunch of really poor attempted sim tennis games. It'd be nice to have a cool arcadey one, like Virtua Tennis again. Like something fun in the style of NBA Jam, but a tennis game. That's not Mario Tennis.
Yeah, Mario will always take care of all of
because Mario's the only tennis
games
game
for you.
Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah. Another question. Enigma 57. Should XboxEra pivot to joining the Rage Bait SF discourse? What's SF? Oh, Starfield. Would be the greatest 180 degrees since Darth Vader turned out to be Daddy. In all seriousness, you guys are doing a fantastic job, and I know eventually it will pay off. Ignore the haters. We're going to be with you till the end of time. See, we should have read that out.
Yeah, when I was talking about my proposed objective review series. That's the only other one we missed, though.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I've just gone through them myself. Next time, I will transfer them all, and then it could just be rest solely on me as to whether they are.
Well, it's gonna have to be you after this upcoming week.
Yeah, because you won't have a computer or anything.
Probably not.
Using it as a boat. But there you go. That is actually officially all of the community questions, and thusly the end of the show. As we look forward ahead to next week, as mentioned, we do have a Metaphor ReFantazio review dropping at the appropriate hour, as well as other content from the rest of the team. Jesse, is there anything that particularly comes to mind that you'd want to give a shout out to that might be popping along? I mean, I think you mentioned a Dragon Ball Sparking Zero as well.
Yeah, that comes out next Friday, so that review should be out. Like, there's just a lot of things. Yeah. It's pretty much just now I get to watch the weather and see where we all end up, because it doesn't look good.
Fingers crossed. Jesse will still be around next
Hopefully
Saturday.
everything is okay. Maybe it's one of those weird situations. You know how you see those storms hit the US and there's like one house left standing and everything else around it is destroyed? Hopefully that's, like, fingers crossed, what happens for you.
Yeah.
Not that I want everyone around you destroyed, but like, if it does make its way through, hopefully you're the one that's left standing.
It'll be fine.
But hopefully it dodges you guys all together completely.
Yeah. And if that's the case, we'll be back on Tuesday with headlines.
And goodbye, Miami.
Jesse and I will be talking through all of the latest in gaming news, as well as all the other content that XboxEra is producing between now and then. And remember, all of it, every single bit, is made possible by you guys and everybody supporting, watching, liking our shows, supporting us on Patreon, being a YouTube member. It all helps, and we love you. As a final heads up to everybody, as of Monday, we're partnering and switching over to a new ad partner. This means a couple of things. This is just friendly housekeeping. Might be some wonkiness, so apologies in advance on XboxEra.com. We are bringing ads to the forum. Heads up, if you're a Patreon member, you don't get ads. Bonus. And we may be bringing ads to Day One, which is our Game Pass rating and tracking app that probably no one uses. But we'll now be able to track it because we're doing stuff. So expect a bit of wonkiness and a bit of up and down. But I'll be online and available on Monday. I might even be doing some streams this coming week. And we're going to be setting up a community game night. For me, it's going to alternate between every other Monday, where we can get together as a group and play some stuff together. So it's not really about streaming. It's more about us just playing games together. So pipe up if you're in the Patreon lounge.
I was probably, depending on the weather, was probably going to stream Diablo on Monday night for me, which would be super late for you.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be like 9 p.m. or something my time when it comes out.
So bear that in mind. But yeah, until then, Nick, Jesse, it's been a pleasure as always.
Yep. Thanks everyone for stopping by.
Appreciate it. And I guess ciao for now.
Ciao for now.